Yay! Hello everyone, welcome to the Transatlantic Call-In Show, the show where you can call in and argue with some real trans people about real trans things, or we can waste the whole show talking about Harry Potter. We'll see how this episode goes, but this week you can talk to me, Katy Montgomerie, or the lovely...
Arden Hart. Hello everybody.
Hello everyone, yeah, thanks for tuning in. I can't remember if we did a show last week, but I don't think I've been on in a while. Excited to be back.
We did not have a show last week, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so how have you been since the last X weeks that I saw you?
Well, we talked about it a little in the pre-show. So last week's show, I know Ben had some stuff going on. I don't necessarily need to tell his part of the story, but I know for me, our cat ran away during the worst ice storm of the year here. And it feels like she vanished out of thin air because she's a very skittish indoor cat. And the few times the door was open, we were standing right there. We're always very vigilant about like the door, even though they aren't super inclined to try to get out. And so we don't really know what happened, unfortunately. We've talked to neighbors and the shelters in the area and all of the things that we really could be expected to do. And so it's been kind of a shitty couple weeks, I'm not going to lie, but I'm ready to talk about trans issues today.
Well, if there's anything that's going to make anyone feel significantly happier, it is talking about the state of trans rights in the world today.
Yeah, well, you know, I chose this for myself, so I made my bed, I'll lie in it.
Since the last time I did a show, I did a talk at Edinburgh University, which is like one of the top universities in the country, which is exciting. I feel like I should do like a proper review down on my channel of what happened. But I had 12 security guards, and we still had some gender critical people turn up in the show and start shouting in the middle of it, start saying abuse and stuff, interrupting, accusing me of lying. Then they kind of got quelled, and at the end they were, so there was a neutral moderator who basically told them to shut up and said you can have the first question at the end, and then the first question at the end was them just ranting basically. But there was a bit where they were just like, you're lying about what we think, and I was like, yeah, but you do want to ban me from the toilet, don't you? And they're like, no, we just want blah. And I was like, no, but this is what you want, isn't it? It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? And then they were just like, yeah, but
yeah, but yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how much I want to go off on this, but basically, I think it went quite well. You can watch it live, recorded back, obviously. It was live streamed. It's on YouTube somewhere. Yeah. I don't know how good the sound is, but yeah, I think it went quite well for a second ever one. First one with an active disruption. Ended up bumping into some of the gender criticals who turned up at the gay bar later on when I was I didn't know if I was going to tell the story, but apparently I am. Basically got totally drunk, as you might imagine, went to the gay bar, and then people have been coming up to me all night being like, oh, you know, Katy, I saw your talk, it was really good, and I just been at a house party, and I was just like, oh yeah, okay. And so some lady came up to me and was like, oh, I went to your talk earlier. I was like, oh cool, thanks for coming. And she was like, I'm gender critical. And I was like, oh. But I was just in party mode, and also my natural response to deal with like tension is to just try and make friends with people. So I was just like, oh, you guys should come dancing with us, you know, like basically just had a drunken time, and ended up inviting them back to a house party. Basically went to a house party with these gender critical people. Yeah, it was a wacky night. But overall it was good. Edinburgh's a nice city. I will hopefully be doing some more talks soon. Book me to your university.
That's cool.
Anyway,
if any of our mods know where like the link is, I think that would be something probably a lot of our audience would like to see. So cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so if anyone's new to the show, you may not know, but this is a call-in show. You can call in, and I think we still have space on the lines. That you can call in for free if you click the link below, or if you want to use the number, it's just below. +1 720 619 2288 if you would like. And also, if you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can send a super chat of $5 or more. And if you do that, then we'll read it out at the end. And if you want to put a hashtag Team Katy in there, then I will get a point. And that's the only way you can vote for someone. That's the only possible vote. This is like North Korea. And once you voted for me and you give me 25 votes, then I win, and Arden has to do some kind of forfeit or something.
Wrong. Donald Trump meme. Wrong. That's where I'm at right now.
You can either vote for me or you can vote for Trump. So,
or you can vote for me. I'm clearly the better option. I mean, come on. Okay. No, but we do have some, before we get to calls, we have some polls we want to bring up. So we're ready for that. So this wouldn't be last week's poll, but this would be from 2 weeks ago when it was Ben and Josie. Was Mark Hamill recently caught heat for liking a J.K. Rowling tweet? After trans folks and activists lambasted him for it, he clarified it was another mistake. Was the pushback on him justified? And your options were, yes, he has a massive platform and must be responsible, which got a 7% answer. Maybe, but there are far more important battles, 21%. No, unjustified waste of time, 39%. Or I haven't heard about this, 33%. So I was actually kind of shocked by this response. So I think I personally would be in the maybe category. Like, it's probably a good thing to like ask him to clarify. I mean, he's been well known for being an ally, and making sure that he's not like slipping on that, as so many celebs have, is probably good. But the level of attention that it got was maybe what I kind of felt was like a little unwarranted. You know, when there were like so many anti-trans bills being sponsored and, you know, having hearings done for them across the US, like of the things we should be talking about, is this really high on the list? And like, for me, I don't think it should be, but I'm interested to hear that 39% of our audience, the majority of the people who answered, thought it was completely unjustified, which is super interesting. I don't know, Katy, where did you fall on that one?
I mean, I guess I see this from two or maybe more sides. And one is, obviously, if you're a trans person, there are loads of cis celebrities out there who are pretending to be nice people, and some of them, you click on their followers on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and they're following all of the gender criticals and not a single trans person or the one transphobic trans person. And you're just like, oh God. And then they'll say something like, I support LGBT rights. And you're like, I think you're lying. And then it comes out. I mean, J.K. Rowling was an example where, you know, we were sus about her years in advance, and we were right. And it's distressing, and I can see why people get on this kind of defense mode, that they see another sign, like some celebrity has done something, and this is the moment where Mark Hamill turns out that he's like, you know, anti-LGBT or something. But at the same time, I just don't really think anything is gained from that. Like, we knew J.K. Rowling was transphobic months or years before she came out. But what did we do with the information? I mean, what can we do? We can say to everyone, oh, she's transphobic. And then everyone, cis people are just going to be like, no, she's not. They're still like that now. Even if you know, give a list of evidence. And then what does that achieve? It doesn't really achieve anything. And on the other hand, like, I have a tiny platform compared to Mark Hamill or J.K. Rowling, but it's larger than a lot of people's. And that means that, you know, I follow loads of people. I argue with loads of people. I like loads of tweets. Sometimes I like stupid stuff by accident. Sometimes I'm an idiot. And quite often I'll get several people who'll DM me and be like, you like this tweet 6 days ago, or like, you follow this one person who said this bad thing to someone who's tangentially related to this other issue that you know nothing about. And when sometimes the tone is like, oh, hey, Katy, I don't know if you know, but this person you've just retweeted is actually a fascist. I'll be like, oh, shit, okay, you know, thanks for letting me know. But sometimes it's like instantly in Inquisition mode, and they're like, you know, assuming that I must hate whatever group, and are trying to catch me out on it. And it can be very tiring to be assumed bad faith. And I've seen, you know, cis people getting radicalized into transphobia just by being grilled. And I think that this is a rare occasion, and you already have to be transphobic anyway to be pushed over the edge. But I can see why people kind of can get a bit lured in by the reactionaries, or at least become sympathetic to them. So I'm not really sure if it's a massive use of time. And I mean, perhaps we'll go into more with our next question, but like, you only have so much complaining energy to do. I know I can complain a lot. I have a lot of complaining energy, but you can only complain like 24 hours a day. You can't complain more than that. And if you spend 24 of your complaining hours a day on complaining about Mark Hamill liking a tweet that that doesn't really fit with the rest of his personality or history, why weren't you instead complaining about them taking away healthcare from children in whatever state is currently doing that, which is several of them, or all of the media campaigns going on against trans people's rights in the UK and all of these other things. Like, I get it. The reason why people attack celebrities is because it feels like something you can do, but it's an illusion. This is what culture war is. The whole point is the newspapers all big up what Mark Hamill's doing, and we all get fucking angry about it. Everyone starts talking about it, and then the Conservative government passes some bullshit like anti-rights law in the background, and no one's talking about it because they're all too busy talking about some liked tweet. Yeah, I think it's if you write one thing, oh no, I mean I did. I was like, oh no, Mark Hamill. That's it. Who cares? Done. But if you're having some like 7 tweet long thread, day 6 into the drama, like you're wasting your life. You're wasting other people's time.
Yeah. I agreed completely, and I'm impressed with our audience. Not that I don't know. I just expected more people would be a little bit more viscerally upset about this, but I think it goes to show that Twitter is not real life, and that is a mantra that I have to like meditate on every day. Twitter is not real life. So yeah. Anyway, so we want to move on to the next
pointless culture war bullshit. Let's go to our next poll.
Yeah, right. I know. Very relevant. Very related.
We have to talk about what everyone's talking about, and everyone's talking about fucking waste of time. So here's our question this week. Are you playing the wizard game? And there's 4 options. No, I hate Harry Potter, which is the correct answer. There's no, I love Harry Potter, but I'm boycotting the game because I hate J.K. Rowling. And I think that's also a fair decision. Yes, I hate J.K. Rowling, but I love Harry Potter. I think, to be honest, I don't care, really. I think if you're just a nobody and that's what you're doing, whatever. If you're a big streamer, perhaps we'll have a discussion about that in a second. And the last, well, there's 2 more options. Yes, I hate Harry Potter, but I hate trans people even more, and other. I'm not sure what the other options are, but they are the 4 options, really, I think, in this discussion. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think, Arden? Are you going to play it?
No, I think I would fall on answer number 2. So, like, look, as an adult, in retrospect, I can look back on Harry Potter and see the flaws with it, right? I don't know if I would join the crowd that I see often saying that it was always so bad and it's still really bad and the game looks horrible. To me, the game looks like the kind of game that I would actually enjoy, and that I would play if there weren't all of this other context. But for me, personally, I'm choosing not to get it because I don't want to support J.K. Rowling. But to me, this decision is kind of a, like, I don't know exactly what the word would be. I think there's a philosophical word for this, where it's like it's probably like a morally virtuous thing to do, but it's not necessarily an obligation. This isn't like the child drowning in the river and you can get them analogy, where it's like, then you're a morally bad person for not doing it. I don't think it's quite on that level. I think the vast, vast, vast majority of people who have made this game like a record-breaking pre-sale game are probably kind of in the camp of they don't even think about that part of it. I think the issue is that Harry Potter has grown to be such a massive cultural thing, much like Star Wars or like Lord of the Rings, these sort of like IPs that just grow up above and beyond their probably original intention or their original audience, where it's more of like a cultural phenomenon now than like really just an IP or a movie or a book series. But yeah, I think it's probably good for people to boycott it if they want to. I don't know if I think but I think you're right. There's maybe different responsibilities when you're talking about like streamers with massive platforms or something. Maybe there's a bigger responsibility there, but I don't know. I'm not super convinced that somebody's like directly supporting like, the ongoing trans genocide by doing this. Like, you can kind of do a roundabout way to get to that argument, but in that same vein, then are you also, boycotting like like Adidas and like shoe companies that use child sweatshops in China and stuff like that. Like
everything
I doubt most people are being...
Activision Blizzard does. Yeah.
Right.
And I do feel like it's a bit similar. Like, I guess the opposite of the analogy to the drowning child one that you kind of mentioned is it's a bit like eating something with eggs as an ingredient. Like, it's true that the egg industry is immoral and causes the death of millions of innocent animals for absolutely no reason at all. And you can just eat something else. But lots of people don't know that. Lots of people buy free-range eggs and they just think, oh, well, that's just good. You know, I'm vegetarian even, but I buy free-range eggs and there's no problem with this. And if you said to someone, like, you're eating a bit of cake or something from a shop and it happens to have 0.1% egg in it, therefore you are morally evil. Like, it's a completely ridiculous position. And it's kind of like this. I have seen people saying things like, if you bought the Harry Potter game, then you are evil. And it's just like, if that's where the line for evil is, like, how do we describe the people who are passing laws making it so parents who support the trans kids are arrested and put in prison and their kids are forcibly detransitioned? Like, these are orders of magnitude different, and orders of magnitude more, like, you can... I know it feels kind of helpless watching these laws pass, but you can support, lobbying groups and local organizations on the ground, trans people who you meet. You can make a difference in these things. But what you can't really do is talk people out of playing a game they want to play, especially when the reasoning is J.K. Rowling, who hasn't really talked about the game, invented the IP, but she also doesn't like trans people. But you don't know any trans people, and they're kind of making a fuss about it, and this is like, we're talking about it now. We've been talking about it for minutes already. Everyone is fucking talking about this game, and the thing that people are talking about for sure is it transphobic? And obviously, as soon as you say something that doing this is transphobic, loads of people go out of their way to do it. Like, millions of people have literally bought this game just because they hate trans people. And that is, I don't think that's an exaggeration. They're like, oh, I want to support J.K. Rowling because she's being incorrectly, and I would have played this game anyway, and they won't really play it. But also, loads of it's just free advertising. It's like the Streisand effect thing, where, if we weren't all arguing about this, if there weren't, if you say buying Harry Potter is morally evil, then some 100,000 follower right-wing account will screenshot it and be like, the left is crazy, and then they post about it, and loads of people who kind of follow them and kind of follow, they don't really care about politics, they're like, oh, there's a new Harry Potter game, and then maybe they forget about it. But then, because there's so many of these takes, they see another one the next day, and they see another one the next day, and in 3 weeks of this constant, like, everyone's talking about Harry Potter, they're like, kind of feel like playing the Harry Potter game, actually. And then they fucking buy it, don't they? So, like, I just think, this is what I said from the last poll. It's like, this is culture war bullshit at its finest. People are arguing about this because they feel it's the only thing they have control in their life over. But it is stop. And I know the main criticism to my point is you're allowed to care about more than one thing at once. Yes, you are. If you wrote, like, I'm not playing a Harry Potter game because I think J.K. Rowling is transphobic on Twitter, you never engaged in it again, that's fine. That took, 3 seconds of your day? Who cares? If you've been debating about it, like, for days and days and days, really, we're being hypocrites now by engaging in this fucking bullshit, but I feel like we have to because of the show. But
a little bit.
Yeah. But, like, why? What have you could have been doing better things. Don't just shrug it off with, oh, you can care about more than one thing at once. How much energy, how much like mental and emotional energy have you spent on this, and finding out one of your friends is playing this game and being upset about it, and, like, you only have so much of this energy, and it's so easy to get worn out as a trans person at the moment. Save your energy. Just don't care about Harry Potter, or play it if you want to fucking play it, and then go and donate to Stonewall, or go and, volunteer at the local LGBT centre, or ring up your friend who's an LGBT person who lives in Montana and tell them that, they're welcome to come and sleep on your sofa. There are so many things to spend your energy on. Don't burn out on this utter bullshit.
I hard agree.
I find it very frustrating.
Well, I see. Maybe we should, to kick off the caller portion of the show, take caller number 1 or on line 3. Just knock this out of the way.
Let's
okay.
Let's get it out of the way. Come on then.
TJ from Illinois, pronouns are he, him. You are on the line. What's going on?
Well, I'm feeling a little silly about bringing this culture war bullshit up. But
no,
it's okay, it's relevant.
Yeah, I'm just curious I was curious what your thoughts are. I've kind of heard them now. It is pretty crazy to me how ridiculous some people are getting. Like I've heard about streamers that are getting harassed for playing it. Some Steam users were like trying to get it tagged as a genocide simulator. Culture war bullshit is probably the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean that last point is a good example of it just not being good for anyone. Like, just imagine. I mean, I guess it's kind of from a like troll, like lol memes kind of position. If the top tag of an Harry Potter was genocide simulator, to be honest, it's quite funny. But at the same time, like, I don't know if everyone is doing that for the lols. I think some people are doing it because they're really angry and they want to cause some damage. And it just makes you look kind of ridiculous because it's not, is it? I mean...
What it reminds me of is, like, this is the thing that happens from the right all the time whenever there's, like, a woman superhero movie or, like, I don't spoil the fucking The Last of Us, but I know that one episode that has some LGBT themes in it got review bombed by people who were saying, like, this is horrible, you shouldn't watch it, purely because they're being, like, anti-LGBT, not because they actually saw it or because they're actually reviewing the content of the show, because they just want to do their part of the culture war. They want their part of the culture war to win in this particular fight. It feels very similar, where it's like I don't think a lot of these tags are authentically reviewing the game. I think they are, it is a way of feeling like they are doing something in the culture war, even though it's probably really not amounting to anything other than them just getting frustrated to no avail.
If you've got like the internet power to get, like, just say they managed to even get it as like one of the bottom tags, genocide simulator, they've obviously, amassed a huge horde of people or internet resources, whatever, involved in doing that kind of thing. You could have spent that time like messaging all of the schools in your area and telling them about one of their LGBT hate groups and saying, do not trust Safe Schools Alliance, do not trust GenSect or whatever. They're going to try and send you a flyer saying this, and it's bullshit. Like that, it must be a similar use of resources to go out and do all of these things. And that would be just so much more useful than doing some Harry Potter tag thing, which isn't even going to last. And like, even if they did get it to work, the Steam would just step in and delete it. And it just seems like a waste of time. On the streamers getting harassed thing, I think that's a different topic, because the tag thing could be hilarious. Like if you just tagged it as transphobic, that kind of would be funny, even if it didn't really achieve anything.
That would be kind of funny.
But on to be honest, if someone's raging about it and that's what they really want, then it's kind of like lame. But if we're just like, lol, let's just get this tagged to something stupid, like, okay, fair. But on the
I don't understand the effort put into it either. I really agree with
the effort you could be putting into something better. Yeah. On the streamers getting harassed thing, though, what really frustrates me about this is, trans people are being harassed in the name of J.K. Rowling every single day. If you reply to one of her tweets, the amount of abuse you get, no one talks about that. No one cares at all. It's literally not even a topic in the press about the abuse that trans people get from J.K. Rowling and her horde of minions. And then some streamer will be like, oh, well, I support J.K. Rowling and I'm going to play the game. And then a load of people turn up in the chat saying, you hate trans people. And then they start crying. They're like, oh, this is my mental health, or the emotions that I have to deal with. It's like, I mean, yeah, it's not nice when a load of people come and call you a knobhead, but like get a grip. It's kind of pathetic compared, like, the amount of like abuse that trans people are facing and watching governments around the world take away our freedom is what, like, I get abuse literally like every 5 minutes on Twitter, and it's not nice, but it is nothing. Like it's like 0.01% as bad as seeing them teeter on the edge of passing some law which might take away a right I have, or someone I love or care about. And it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm just in a position where I feel like people whining about being called names is just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just broken in that sense, but
I mean,
it just doesn't.
I see both sides of it. Like, I can appreciate that, like I don't want anyone to bully anyone. You know, I don't think it's there are ways to communicate your grievances that don't result to bullying. And I think there are a recognizable portion of people in this whole situation who have been outright boldly claiming that they are proud that they have been bullying streamers over this, right? It is a thing that happens, but it's also like one of these like terminally online things that is like, it feels like there's just no perspective in this issue at all of the bigger picture of like what anyone is facing and what the reality of like the problems that trans people are dealing with are. I don't know. I don't want anyone to get bullied.
But what even is this bullying? Like if you play the Harry Potter game and then someone writes a blog or does a video essay saying Arden, the game streamer, supports transphobic video game, oh, maybe she's transphobic. Like, that's not bullying. Like, bullying would be turning up in your stream and calling you fat or something over and over again. Like,
yeah.
And people are trying to accuse, like, oh no, people are calling me transphobic because I have 1 million followers on Twitch and I'm playing the Harry Potter game and not banning everyone who talks about trans rights. It's like, well, that's not bullying, is it?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference between an accusation of transphobia and bullying, but I do think there's some people in the online space who get like a sort of righteous indignation from, I think they publicly committed themselves to a position, and so to go back on it would be too great of a risk for them or their image or something along those lines, and so they do overcommit to I think not communicating effectively what their actual grievances are towards these people. I don't know. This whole situation though just again feels very like stupid culture war BS, and like I don't think anyone who's getting targeted over this game is really being bullied in a significant way where they're gonna need like treatment or help or nobody's been traumatized over the response to this game. And likewise, I don't think that asking people to like consider the ramifications of supporting this game publicly is a bad thing. So it's like, I don't know, that there's just, it's very like this essentialist black and white thinking on a lot of these issues that is just inappropriate, and not in like a inappropriate way, but like it's just like it doesn't fit the situation. Like the reaction is not.
Most issues aren't black and white.
Sure.
Most issues fall somewhere in the gray. I have to wonder if some of this really just comes to the fact that Harry Potter was such an important part of so many people's childhoods. They're trying to come to grips with, well, the person who made it is a transphobe. How do I feel about this? This is part of my childhood, and now it feels a little gross. One of my best friends, she's a huge Harry Potter fan, and she's not entirely sure how to feel about the whole thing now because she thinks J.K. Rowling is gross, but being a Ravenclaw is like part of her identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you know that meme that comes up on Twitter a lot? Sorry for anyone who isn't hyper online. Where I don't know what it's from. It's like a dude standing with a noose around his neck, like on as if he's going to be hanged, and then his like the caption is like "first time." It's like, you know, oh, is this your first time about to be hanged? Like we'll survive from this. I think the meme here is like, you know, Harry Potter fans are the ones who are being asked, oh, is this your first time? And like people who like metal bands are just like, oh, What, the person who created the thing you love more than anything else in the world is a bigot? Like, welcome to the club, mate. Like, half of the bands I like have the worst possible people ever. Like, Megadeth is one of my favourite bands, and he is, the main guy from that is an absolute knobhead, like, next level. And, I mean, yeah, it was kind of upsetting when I found out about it. But then there's so many of them that I guess I've mastered, separating the artist from the art. To as much of a degree as I can, you know, there's limits, but I guess to anyone who does really like Harry Potter and who is really distressed about this, just don't beat yourself up over it, but just, you know, think about it, just, you know, neutrally, and don't get caught up in all this black and white culture war nonsense. But like, maybe if you can avoid buying things from something where J.K. Rowling get money, try and buy it a different way, get it secondhand or obtain it via the internet. Or maybe every time you spend 20 quid on J.K. Rowling merch or whatever, then maybe donate £20 to, you know, LGBT Helpline or something. And don't spend all of your time stressing about how, you know, one of the things, like, imagine if the person who created Pokemon turned out to be a Nazi or something. Well, that'd be terrible for me. I love Pokemon. I wouldn't just suddenly drop Pokemon, but I would avoid giving them money and avoid promoting their political position. And I'm not going to try to raise it from my childhood. Bulbasaur is my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Bulbasaur, so really. I'm sorry.
Oh, I know. I judge
Bulbasaur is number one for a reason.
You want to talk about stupid culture war bullshit?
Hey, oh man, I love TJ. Best caller in ages.
Well,
and then, what's your top Pokemon, mate? Before I hang up on you.
Well, if we're talking the originals,
any, mate.
I like Eevee. I like all the things Eevee can become. I made a team that was 5 different Eevees and Aegislash, so I just called it Team Voltron.
Oh, that's so good. Oh my god. I love that. Well, okay. Now you get even more props. Well, thank you so much, DJ, for calling. I think we're going to probably move on to the next caller, but I appreciate you calling in. We definitely...
Bye,
it was
TJ.
Very relevant.
Good riddance.
So.
Well, yeah, thank you for taking the call.
Awesome.
That's all right. Thanks for calling. Right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Now, no more fucking Harry Potter for the rest of the show. Everyone else, you can tune back in.
What do you think about a caller for line 5? I think that's probably seems like the spiciest one. All right, we've got Vaibhav in India. Pronouns are he, him. I probably totally butchered your name, so rip me apart and tell me what I did wrong. Hello? Oh, if you are there, you're on mute. All right, going once.
Oh, no.
Going twice. All right, we're going to return you to the queue.
We will take your call later.
We do want to talk to you.
Tune back in.
Yeah, your topic's very interesting. So we're going to put you back in the queue. Check your mute and your settings and all that, and then we'll bring you back in after the next call.
Let's do call 2.
Okay. All right, so we're going to take Brian in North Carolina. Pronouns are he, him. Brian, you are on the line. What's going on?
Hi there. I'm doing okay. How are you two?
Good, doing thanks.
Great. What's up?
You want to talk about gender roles?
Yeah, so as a cis male, I understand I'm coming from a point of ignorance here. So I'm genuinely curious as to what role, if any, the traditional gender roles had in, your discovering, that you were transgender. Because I'm just curious as to what role that played, if any.
So I think, I guess there's more than one way to look at this question. Maybe I should ask what exactly you mean by it. But I guess the first 2 things that came to my mind are, one was the traditional gender roles were like forced on me to a degree. I mean, my parents aren't like really conservative or anything, and I didn't grow up in a really conservative area, but still gender roles are in society everywhere, that even if you grow up with like quite liberal parents, they're still forced on you. And they were forced on me to be a boy and to like boy stuff, and to know that doing certain things that girls do is bad. Oh, that's gay if you like dresses or dancing or whatever. And that's what I was told every single day of my life at school. And so that really strongly influenced me. And then in coming out, I guess my kind of progress through to reaching my current political position was, I originally I believed in God, and I was homophobic and transphobic and all these other things just because that's what I'd been taught. That's how I grew up. And then I realized that homophobia was completely ridiculous. That was the first thing that I rationalized out when I was, just becoming a teenager. And that got me to stop believing in God, and then that got me to feminism, and then eventually that got me to trans rights. But it took me a long time, and one of the big deal breakers was suddenly realizing that all this gender role stuff is just totally made up rubbish, just complete garbage. And I was just like, when I knew that, and if I saw someone telling a woman that they have to, act and dress a certain way, it was easy for me to call out, but it took a while for me to apply that universally and then turn it inwards on myself. And I was just like, all these rules that I force upon myself because I know how society will react if I don't, they're all rubbish. And as soon as I kind of realized that, then I was just like, well, I can do what I want. I can do any of them. I can do anything or not any of them. And that was a really big deal in coming out. So that's one thing. And I guess the other way of looking at it is whether as a woman, I looked to what the gender roles for women were, and just was like, oh, are these for me, kind of thing. I guess I didn't really do that, because to me it felt more like the rules of being a boy were like a straitjacket, and then as soon as I gave them up, I just did whatever the hell I wanted, and this is how I've turned out. But that doesn't mean that I can't have critical analysis of them, because there's a reason why no one comes to their appearance without the context of society, and patriarchy and stuff influencing that. But there are lots of things where sometimes you're in a situation where passing is more important. Like if you're talking to a doctor, or you're surrounded by some dodgy people, or you're walking home in the night or something, it's much safer to pass. And there are some things that maybe you play up in order, the more you meet bullshit patriarchal gender roles, the better you pass, because that is how cis people work. And that means there are some, I'm quite aware of lots of these things. And when I think about them, whether I'm doing them or not, sometimes you have to kind of rationally override it. And I think a good example is when I say mate, where I'm from, men and women say mate to men and women all the time. Who cares? No one cares. But when I say it on the internet, there are a lot of people where they come from, the only people who say mate are men, and they only say it to other men. And they're like, this is evidence that you're really a man. And I did think maybe I should phase mate out of my vocabulary, because it would help me pass in those weird situations where saying mate makes someone just think twice about you. Then I was like, no, this is ridiculous. It's just so stupid. I'm not changing how I talk, especially when all of my cis women friends say mate all the time. I'm not changing how I talk just to fit into some stupid patriarchy bullshit. Yeah, I don't know. So I think that's the way those are the two main ways I can think that I've interacted with this. I don't know, Arden, if you've looked at this a different way, or...
No, I think it's kind of similar. I think on some level, growing up with some very cis-normative expectations of man and womanhood, it's probably the case that I think no matter what the portrayals of men and women were growing up, I was going to identify as a woman. That is my gender identity. I think that's kind of something that was inescapable for me. But I do think it's possible that because of the traditional gender roles that I was exposed to, that's maybe part of the reason that I present in a stereotypically feminine way. I long hair, I wear makeup, things like this. I think, but at the same time, I think my experience was similar to what you were saying, Katy, where it was kind of once I realize that the expectations that were on me were just kind of bullshit made up rules that society designed for no real reason. This was just kind of where I landed. It wasn't like I was really like actively making a decision like I'm going to grow long hair so I can be a woman. It was I was denied long hair. I really want long hair and see if that makes me feel better. And it did. And so I kept long hair. I think, yeah, it's hard to avoid the expectations of gender roles impacting your understanding of yourself and presentation. I think this is kind of what a lot of feminists are talking about when they talk about like the reification of gender roles and things like this, that like we're so impressionable as kids that these things get very deeply rooted in our brains and our self-image and our expectations. And it's kind of hard to override that in your lifetime. I think you can change those expectations for the next generation, but only in probably small ways. So yeah, I don't know. It probably in some capacity did shape who I am, but in no different way than that it shaped everyone, you know? I think cis men and women are probably more shaped by those expectations than trans people are.
They are and they aren't. They are in the fact that they often just do it without questioning it, and they just get on with it and it doesn't upset them and they don't feel constrained by it. Or if they do, it's only a little bit and it's kind of minor. So that in that sense. But I think trans people may be more affected by it in the fact that like I have to be in my transition, like you kind of have such an intense level of introspection that you're aware of all of this kind of stuff that a lot of people don't think about. And then you get presented in these situations where it's like, when I go to the doctor, if I wear a dress and makeup, I will get better healthcare. And like that is such a constraint on, I mean, that might well apply to a lot of women, maybe not so much at the doctor, but in other situations. If you're applying for a job and you wear, you know, heels and a makeup, you're probably more likely to get the job. This kind of stuff, you do become aware of it, and it is very controlling in your life. And then you have to make the decision of like, fuck the system, or maybe not fuck the system today because I just kind of want to have my medicine like prescription repeated. Yeah, I don't know, Brian, how do you feel like we've addressed your question, or have we kind of gone off on a tangent?
No, I think you guys have done great. I had the idea that you know that unfortunately, you know, that the role would probably be a negative one in the sense that you know, it was the feeling of restriction that would lead towards you know, towards that being something, you know, that you discover about yourself. You know, well, you know, boys are supposed to like these things or behave this way or dress this way. Well, that's not really me. I want to be myself. That would be a contributing role. That this idea of having the freedom to be who you want, as opposed to it being something, you know, where it was more, no, you have to follow this, you know, this particular path, otherwise there's something wrong with you. I 100% agree that that's, you know, that's why I expected it would be, if any at all. You know, I'm sure that there are some people that's like, no, I've always kind of, you know, thought that, you know, I was this way as opposed to another, you know, without really the influence of a cultural norm, as it were. I 100% agree with you, Katy, when you were talking about how, yeah, it's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. It's completely arbitrary, completely made up. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of tangents that we can go from there. I guess it depends on how many you want us to entertain, or if you just want me to let, you know, to go at this point, or if you want to entertain some of those tangents or not.
Oh, you're muted, Katy.
Sorry. I guess one of the things I would bring up would be how, like, the anti-trans position, and in this case, much more the gender critical or even TERF position compared to, say, like the Republican, like Christian evangelist position. I mean, I see all the time this idea that trans people love gender stereotypes and go out of their way to enforce them because they love patriarchy, and it's so ridiculous. And so, like, you've never met a trans person or talked to one ever, or even looked at pictures of trans people other than on your little hate websites. It's just so ludicrous to think that trans people, like the idea that a trans woman by wearing makeup and a dress is enforcing patriarchy, whereas a cis woman doing the same thing isn't, is just ridiculous. I mean, trans women get attacked all the time for doing those things, even when they pass. Like, if you know someone's trans and they wear a dress and makeup and they're a trans woman, they get a load of abuse from it, from all of the fucking patriarchy types, and they get a load of abuse from, you know, then some arguably feminists for doing stuff that they need to do in order to fit in, for all the same reasons that cis women do. But like the idea that then trans people have the power to uphold this stuff or to like strengthen it is just so ridiculous. Like, trans people have absolutely no cultural power on this at all. I mean, we're not the ones holding back people's healthcare if they don't meet the standards. Cis people do that to us. You know, they aren't the ones threatening to beat us, cis people up on the street. It's the other way around. And, you know, not all cis people, whatever. But like, it's a set of rules that cis people have made up. And if we don't fit them, then we lose out a lot. And that is obviously why people fit them. And like, there's this really good talk. There's a TED talk. I can't remember who it's by, but it's describing gender as a language. And they're trying to explain the phenomenon of why early in transition, often trans people do more gender stereotype stuff than they do later in transition. And it's kind of explaining the link between like gender as in the things we've made up, and then our understandings of people's sex, and communicating what sex you are. For some reason, it seems to be something that is very important to a lot of people. And when you're a trans person who doesn't pass at all, the only tools available to you, the only language you have to communicate who you are, is all of this made up gender bullshit. It's things like girls like pink and long hair is for women and that kind of stuff. And so you lean into that because you're basically trying to wave a flag at people before you meet them and just say, hey, by the way, I'm a woman. Even though you can totally acknowledge all of this stuff is just totally made up garbage. Like, you know, it would be much better to live in a world where, you know, you didn't need to communicate this stuff because either people already knew or it wasn't important. But in a world where it is important and the language available to you is this, then that's what you pick. And then as you transition and you start passing better, or you find a group of friends who see you as you are, or you just get more comfortable in yourself, then you're like, all of these kind of rubbish gender things, maybe I don't need them as much. Maybe now I've got my medical prescription, I don't need to wear a dress to the doctor. You know, maybe I've got a good job now, I don't need to put on all this rubbish in order to get hired. So you often see people kind of, for two reasons. There's one of they finally feel free and they want to do all the things they've never done before. And the other is they want to communicate, look, hey, this is me. And then when you no longer feel the need to break out and you no longer have to communicate so strongly, then you sort of kind of fall back, which is the opposite of what you would expect if the gender critical position is true, where for some reason trans people have gender stereotypes, and you'd think that people would just keep getting more and more extreme, or they would get to a point where they were bored with it and then they would not be trans anymore or something. And I mean, nothing they think matches up with reality. But that's another point I thought I'd add.
Yeah. With that on the mark for you, Brian, we do have a couple of other callers we want to get to before we move on to super chats. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that definitely answered what I was looking for. Again, I appreciate your time and your show. Best of luck to both of you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Brian.
Bye, Brian.
So before we go on to the next calls, which we have a few more, we might have space in the queue for another person. Oh, maybe someone's screening right now. But we'd just like to thank Amber for doing the call screening. Like, we're really grateful for all the volunteers who work on this channel. You know, the mods in chat, thank you very much. You know, so I got Cookies, Ilya, Critical Cupcake, and others. Shout out to you, everyone who's helps with this channel, because it makes a big difference. Without moderators, we'd end up being bullied by people who are calling us out on things we do that are bad. No, I don't. But, you know, it's good. Without the call screeners, we just couldn't do this. So thanks a lot. And another thing to say is this channel doesn't just have this show. It has loads of shows now. There's like almost one every day. So you should come back and check out the other shows. We've got the Sunday show with Matt and Jimmy, which would be good. Sunday shows about religion. You can call in, have an argument with two of the most argumentative knobheads on the internet, apart from us two. And there's Skeptalk with Forrest and Erica, who is, I've got gut sick Gibbon in brackets after that. I don't know. Maybe that's what Erica is called.
That's like her story name. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
Erica.
But yeah, and the last thing to say before we move on to the callers is, if you like this channel, why not go to the Patreon? You can go to patreon.com/call the line and subscribe, and it helps us, do these shows, helps get some really cool guests in, helps keep the lights on. I don't know.
Help keep us doing weird challenges like Jimmy shaving his head and trying to look like Matt. Or Matt potentially dyeing his beard pink, I think, is one that was floated. Don't know if that was confirmed. But, who knows? Who knows what weird shit we might do if the support continues to grow.
Is it kind of weird having someone being like, hey, I'm going to change my parents to look like your boyfriend?
It was good fun. I don't know. I laughed. I thought it was a good fun idea.
I look more like young Heisenberg than Matt.
It's true. I do think you look a little bit more like Heisenberg, but yeah. But yes, again, thank you to everyone. We really appreciate the support. It means the world to us. And don't forget, after we get through calls, which we have got 3 on the line currently, we're going to try to get to all of them. I think we'll do super chats. Anything over $5, we will read out loud at the end of the show. So, and don't forget to put in a hashtag Team Arden. That makes sure that
I just said Team Arden. You tricked me.
That makes sure it gets seen by our producer so that it can get put onto the screen. Thank you so much. Anyway, let's move on.
Let's go in order. I think is back.
Okay. Yes. Vaibhav is back. Awesome. All right. We've got Vaibhav in India. You are on the line. Can you hear us
this time?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm so sorry. I was disconnected because of Wi-Fi.
No problem. So what's your question?
Yes. Actually, I'm not trying to criticize you guys. I just want to know if someone is... Okay, I am feeling attracted towards men as well as women, but that was not the case like 10 years back. It has changed with me, and I'm so confused that what if I take a life-changing decision, if I tell my family and all, and if this is a phase and it changes again, so what will I do?
Yeah,
that's the question. Like,
that's an interesting question. I think it's a good question to ask. Like, what if it is a phase? Would that be a problem? Like, if you, let's say hypothetically, you decided not even that you're bisexual, that right now you exclusively want to date men, and that's where your attraction is, and you consensually date a man, have a loving... Sorry, go, yeah?
And yeah, I am feeling attraction towards both genders simultaneously.
Yeah, I understand.
And this is happening a lot. Yeah, this is happening a lot. Yeah.
I'm sure. I was just posing a hypothetical. Perhaps this could happen where you decide that you actually are only interested in men for a period of time. You have consensual relationships with them. They're fulfilling relationships. They end. And then after that, you start to notice your feelings towards women coming back and you start dating exclusively women. Would there be anything wrong with that? I mean, if you're having consensual, healthy, fulfilling relationships. So what if it is a phase then? Would that be so bad?
No, it won't be a bad thing. But my question is, how would someone know? Because the place I live in, it's a different society. It's pretty hard for people. Okay, if someone is gay, they won't be able to hold a job easily. They will face a lot of issues in their life. And I would like to support someone who knows what he wants to do. You know what I mean? But what if someone is confused?
I think I think that you're right to separate this into two parts, and one is to see how you feel about it personally in isolation, and the other is to look at how society looks at it and how it would affect your life. Because if you are bisexual and then you come out and there's a huge big deal and you lose your job and it all kind of goes badly, and then maybe you realize that you weren't bisexual, or even maybe you just meet a woman and you get married and you could have just, told everyone you were straight and got away with it and not have all the ordeal, then you could I think there's a reasonable argument here to say, like, you should really consider about the practical implications of what happens when you come out. And I think this is true for all LGBT people. Not everyone does come out in their life because they're in a situation where they know it's okay, but their family doesn't, or it's against the law in their country, or they're already in a marriage and they have children or something. And it's a decision you have to make. And I think for me, like coming out as a trans woman, what pushed me to the edge in the end was, I weighed up all the factors and I thought it is possible that I could lose all my friends and family for this. But I don't think that's super likely. I wasn't sure. I mean, it could have happened. And I did have some difficulty with my family, but I was weighing that up against feeling so trapped and feeling like I had a secret that I just couldn't. I didn't want to have. I don't like having secrets that they really stress me out, and I felt like I just had to tell people about it. And so I just told one person to start with, who I felt like I could trust and who I felt like I had a good chance of them accepting me. And that made things so much better, but it also gave me a sense of how other people would react. And the more people I told, the more kind of confident I got. And it meant I was more able to deal with like the negative reactions. And I guess this is a decision you have to make when you're in the situation. And for sure, you can worry about, what if it's a phase? But if you're in a situation where everyone accepted you, then whether it's a phase or not doesn't matter. And if you're in a situation where no one accepts you, then kind of that's true too, because if you come out, then they're not going to accept you whether it's a phase or not. I guess the one thing as well, just as another point, I did also worry constantly, what if being trans is a phase? I know I did feel this from when I was very young, but I think it's a very common question for LGBT people to ask themselves. And what I did was just try and rationally ask myself, like, the question, is this really something that am I showing signs of it going away? Have I only felt this for 10 minutes, or has this been the case for years? Do I feel like this is massively less now, or has this gone away for months in a row? And the answer is no. And after a while, you just get to the point where it doesn't seem likely that it's going to go away. And I mean, we can look at the statistics and see that most, the vast majority of LGBT people don't grow out of it. But it is interesting when you yourself, you said that you felt like you were maybe straight before, and now you feel like you're bisexual. When you've experienced, in your view, your sexuality changing, that can make you think, oh God, well, what if it changes again? I mean, I guess it's not impossible, but how I would understand it and how I would assume most people are is, there's a lot of pressure to not be bisexual. There's a lot of pressure to not be gay. So it takes longer for you to understand those feelings about yourself. So it might not be that you were straight before and you've become bisexual, it might be more that you've just repressed it more. But saying that, the bottom line is, I think for me at least, is that it's possible. It is possible, and in the end, you've just got to weigh up the odds. It's possible the day you come out, the next day you're like, oh no, man, I don't want my thing after all. And that's a non-zero chance, but the odds of that, to me, in my experience, who I've talked to, my own experience with sexuality and gender, it seems very unlikely. And I guess my advice to coming out to people would be, you don't have to do a big coming out to everyone. You don't have to tell your boss. You don't have to tell your family. You could just tell your best friend. You could just tell some people on the internet. You could just tell a few people and see how it goes. It's all about managing risk and expectations, really. I don't know if, sorry for a long monologue answer there. I don't know if that's helped. Are you still there?
There are some connection issues with the web caller client, so there could be that's what's going on. But I think that was good and sufficient. So hopefully that answered your question, Vaibhav. And if you want to call back and like expand on it, you can always do that. We're here every Thursday. Well, we try to be.
And hopefully you watch this back and gain something from it. Do you have anything more to add, Arden?
No, not really. But we've got 2 callers left on the line. I really want to get to line 8, but I think caller 4 has been on there for almost an hour, so let's take them first. So we've got 7 in South Carolina. Pronouns are she, her. 7, you are on the line. What's going on?
Hello, Arden and Katy. I am calling in today with a question. I want to get some advice from you both. So I'm a trans woman, and I've been transitioning for about a year and doing a lot of the things that Katy was talking about, you know, when I first came out, wearing dresses and makeup and all this. And I've been on HRT for about 9 months, and I'm starting to look a lot more feminine, but definitely I still, you know, present as feminine, even though I don't wear a dress every day now. But at first, you know, when people would misgender me, when they would be like, oh, call me sir, or when referring to me to a, you know, colleague or something, say he, like, I kind of took it in stride. I was like, yeah, you know, it's understandable or whatever. But the longer my transition goes, and especially with everything that's happening, like with the culture war bullshit and everything, it's kind of hard to parse that, kind of hard to give them the benefit of the doubt as like, you know, it's an honest mistake. And it's like, is it an active, you know, is it a microaggression? Like it feels worse every time it happens. And when it does happen, you know, I correct them in the moment. Like when they say he, I'm like, it's actually her, you know, and I don't really take it farther than that. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
What's the best way to handle that at this point?
Well, I think it's so you raised kind of this point about like microaggressions, and I think it's worth noting that I don't think microaggressions necessarily even need like intent. I think when we're talking about microaggressions, we're usually talking about like cultural biases that run so deep that people can offhandedly say something and not even mean it in an offensive way, but it is still transphobic and offensive. So it's highly possible that that is what you're experiencing. I would say that I don't think most people are really actively examining and evaluating the gender and presentation of people they're interacting with. I think most of the time it is a quick snap judgment. And that's not to invalidate, like, you may well have had an experience where someone was being malicious. I think most trans people are going to experience that from time to time. But I think just to say that the majority, I think, of people are way too wrapped up in their own lives and their own heads to be like actively making that level of an assessment. But I think you're right to, I absolutely empathize with like, given the context culturally of what's going on to trans people, I completely understand why that feels a little bit more scary and high stakes to you. It's hard because I think, generally speaking, like, you know, nowadays I would still say we are vastly safer and more widely accepted than we were maybe 30 years ago. But compared to like 5 years ago, I don't know if there's data on that. There may or may not be. I don't personally feel as safe now as I did earlier in my transition. I think it was actually culturally less of a risk out there. So I completely empathize with feeling the intensity of what misgendering could mean. That said, I think it's hard to, you're never going to be able to parse it out. Like, as something that I went through early in my transition, I decided that when I get misgendered or when I get gendered correctly, I don't want to know if somebody clocked me or if, you know, or if they're being misgendering me to be malicious, because personally, and maybe you disagree with this, maybe this won't help you. And if so, I apologize. But I think it's not going to help to know why they did it, right? In my view, I think that information is something you're just going to ruminate on, and that's going to stress you out wondering what's going on inside people's heads, and that is information you could never have access to. So I personally think it's easier to say that they may have misgendered me due to some cultural bias and a microaggression that they aren't aware of. They may have misgendered me because they just, I don't, didn't take a close enough look at me, or maybe they just found one thing clockable about me and that it's ruining my day. But why they did it is maybe less important. At that point, I think you need to go spend time with your friends and spend time with your loved ones and people who are going to accept you and make you feel comfortable for who you are, not going to treat you that way. To remind yourself that while maybe there are still those people in society and they're, you know, those microaggressions may be so deeply run that they're going to impact you no matter how society grows or whatever, that you do have community and loved ones and people who are going to make you feel safe and accepted. I know it sounds kind of cheesy, but I just think that is genuinely the best thing you can do for those kind of things, because sitting in the why did they misgender me place is, I think, a very dark, it's like a black hole for your emotions to get sucked down. And I would highly advise you to be careful about spending too much time lingering in that place, because I don't think it's going to help you find peace or get answers. I think it's just going to be something to ruminate on. But I don't know, maybe Katy, you have different...
Yeah, so I do agree with what Arden said, but I totally agree that spending loads of time worrying can be horrible. Like, I have had a situation where I thought like someone has said he, and I'm like, was this me mishearing it, or were they talking about someone else, or was this an accidental misgendering of me, or was this them just their brain just slipping up? And like, I've seen my colleagues accidentally misgender each other, and they're all cis. So you know, sometimes people's brains just mess up, and when you spend ages thinking like, oh, are they you know, is this a random cis on cis violence that's got misdirected, or is this like a, you know, a situation of deliberate, or where they've decided that I'm a man or whatever? That kind of thing is, like Arden says, what can be a dark place, and you can just spiral. And it's best to really focus on steering out of that. However, but when you realize that someone's transphobic and they're doing it on purpose, like for me, that totally diffuses it. I no longer care. It's absolutely, their view is now meaningless to me. I don't really get misgendered in real life. The last time, I don't know, hasn't happened this year. Don't think it happened last year. I get misgendered, I don't know, 50 times an hour on the internet, like literally constantly, and it doesn't affect me at all. Like it just pings off me, because these people who are doing it are idiots. Like, their view is totally worthless. They're irrational. They don't know anything about me. They don't know anything about trans people. They hate trans people. Like, when I find out that someone has misgendered me, and it's because they're transphobic or some gender critical nutcase or whatever, like, oh, lol, all right, of course. This is what they do to trans people. I mean, if anything, it's validating, because they've seen me as someone, and they feel like they have to go out of their way to hurt. Like, okay. So I think that it's not like the kind of real world situation where like it's a customer and they say he once, and you're like, oh God, are they reading me as a man? This is terrible. That's where you want to kind of not overanalyze it and just be like, sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes, whatever. I'm just going to have to move on and try and not think about this. But if it's someone who you think's trying to hurt you, then if they can't physically hurt you and they can't take away your job from you or take away your healthcare, then their opinion is a joke. Like, they're a joke of a person, and everything they say is meaningless. And it's good to get into that mindset, I think, because it can dispel the one thing they have over you. I guess I will say, on transitioning as you go on, like you mentioned, as it goes on, it kind of gets worse. The less you get misgendered, the less frequently it happens, the worse it is when it happens. Like, if it hasn't happened to you in 6 months and then it happens, like, that could be a week-long depression spiral. Whereas at the start of transition, you know, people misgendered me every time, and it was so normal that I didn't really think. And I think it's not just that hasn't happened to you in a while, so your defenses aren't up. That is a factor. But I think the more you go into transition, the more you kind of forget about the issues of being trans, and you just, oh, everyone's seeing me how I see myself, and I'm just living a normal life, and whatever. And then it suddenly brings you back to the reality of being trans, and it says, oh, your first thought is, oh my god, I must look like a man, or it's very disorienting, and that's worth bearing in mind, that reaction is normal and understandable, and you shouldn't punish yourself for it. It's like when I see a bad photo, like sometimes I see a photo and I'm like, that looks like a man to me, and that can send me spiraling. But now I really focus on just being like, everyone has bad photos, everyone sometimes, and a lot of cis people probably didn't even notice, get misgendered, just by accident. And yeah, I mean, it's going to happen before before your end. People are going to misgender you more, and you've got to be ready to disregard the idiots and to not get broken by the people who are. The worst person is someone who really is supportive of trans people and then still misgenders you, and you're just like, oh, they must have seen me like in a really horrible way. But I don't know how much that helps.
That helps a lot.
How did that?
And it really helps a lot to know that that it's normal what I'm going through, that you two can relate to it. Like, you two are just so tremendous. I really, really love your show and love what you guys are doing.
Oh, thanks.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
I wanna leave you with one gender affirming moment that happened recently. My urologist actually asked me if I had a hysterectomy.
That's awesome.
So that was nice. Yeah. So like, it's so weird because I pass a lot better most of the time. Like even to my urologist, and like what Katy said, like I'm getting misgendered less and less frequently, although over the phone there's like a 9 out of 10 chance that they're going to call me sir because my voice, but in person it's rarer, but when it does happen it hurts more. So I'm glad that's not just me.
No, it's very normal. Yeah, I'm sure that'll continue you'll see the effect of that phenomenon compound over time.
I actually think there's a thing with like doctors, and this is me totally speculating, hypothesis mode. But I think that doctors might be less likely to misgender and more likely to assume how you present yourself and introduce yourself, because when you see people at their best, if you're a journalist or something and you see Instagram pictures, there is such a strong gendered divide between men and women, that anyone who doesn't fit into one of these things sets all your question boxes off, and you're very trained to place people. Doctors see people at their absolutely worst. They see people at 4 a.m. on a Tuesday, like after they've just been thrown up for 6 hours. They see people with all these different body shapes, people are on their deathbed and all this kind of stuff. And it brings it back to the reality of people's bodies, away from all this gender performance bullshit that we do. And people are just all kind of like the same. Like, once they get the clothes off, you can see genital differences and stuff. But like, it's a lot of more of a grey area than you think. And so they're like, oh, there's someone called Seven. Like, that sounds like probably a girl's name. I'll go with that. So,
Yeah, I often wonder if I'd picked a different name if I had gone with like Katy or Elizabeth or Alyssa or something, if it would happen less. But I picked this more androgynous name.
You got to do an A name. It's the trans woman stereotype.
That's right.
Are you named after the Star Trek person?
I get a lot of questions about that, whether I got that from the Seinfeld episode or Star Trek 7 of 9. I've also gotten a number of people ask me if I got it from Stranger Things. I'm like, no, bestie, that's 11, but close. Actually,
oh my god.
The actual answer.
I'm so glad I didn't say that.
Oh, that's funny.
If you're into EDM, electronic dance music at all, there's a DJ by the name of Seven Lions, and my last name is Lyons, and I it came to me that if I changed my name to Seven, then I would literally be Seven Lions. So that's why.
Oh, that's awesome. Great.
Amazing.
Well, thanks so much for calling, Seven.
Yeah,
I hope we were able to offer some helpful advice and maybe hear from you soon if we did a terrible job.
You guys are awesome. Thanks a lot.
Okay,
Bye.
Bye.
All right, we've got one caller left
last
on the
caller?
line today. Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. I think this is an interesting call. So we've got Sophie in Germany. Pronouns are she, they. Sophie, you are on the line. What's going on?
Hello. Can I give you like a short summary of the situation I am in right now to give a bit of context?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. So I called in a few months ago about cross-dressing. There was like I wanna try female clothes, and I couldn't do it back then because I didn't have the money. And like 2 or 3 months ago, I was like, I kinda feel like I might be trans because all the stuff more. I watched your show more, and then I got thoughts and stuff. And so I'm in therapy now, and I actually got some clothes like a skirt and stockings and something to try out, and I like it. And I also am in voice training and do social transitioning. So I told a lot of people that I want to be called Sophie and addressed with she. And one thing that annoys me is that I had to get a new ID, and I have to use my old name and gender because I can't do it legally. I can't change it legally yet. It sucks.
Oh.
But yeah, and then other thing is that online when I talk to people, I feel like I'm way more myself and acting like a girl in a way. So, and people like that, and they tell me that they like me really quickly. So it's pretty great compared to IL. And yeah, and I'm thinking about hormone therapy, and I'm also thinking about surgery, and that's why I'm calling, because I'm thinking about how it would be to have the surgery, and how it would be to have a vagina, and like sometimes I think it sounds really good in a way, and I read about how it works for women and for trans women who get it, and I'm not sure if I just want to have to do it because it's like a perverted fantasy in a way, or if I really want to have it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So I think the first thing is that in response to that last thing you just said, I think we've said before on the show multiple times, I might even say almost every episode that I'm on, that I think like one of the most common, I think, associations between trans people is thinking that we're not trans enough, or that like we're, you know, and I think an iteration of that is, oh, maybe I'm just a pervert. I think almost every trans woman has gone down that line of thought in their head. Maybe I'm just this freak, and that's why I'm like this. So if anything, I think that's a sign of being trans than like a sign against it or something. But I just I think it's normal to have a lot of the anxiety about that. I'll be straight up with you. I have so much anxiety about bottom surgery. It's like deep existential dread, and there are other confounding factors for me. But yeah, there's a lot of anxiety there. It's hard to conceptualize your body changing on that fundamental level. Like for me, the face surgery was scary because it's intense, but it's not like changing my body. It's just kind of changing the proportions of my face. Whereas bottom surgery is like it's changing your organs functionally from like one organ to a different one, which is like, I can't wrap my head around that. You know, it's definitely stressful. And I think a lot of trans women experience that shared anxiety. I know for me, the things that help cope with that anxiety are looking at the stats and the data, which seem to suggest that overwhelmingly people who get the surgery are, you know, sexually functional and they are happy with their quality of life improves. The surgery is good for them overall. They're happy with the surgery. So that's obviously one thing. I mean, knowing the numbers is huge, right? Because I think you always go to all the things that can go wrong. And I did that for my face too, but the numbers, they're the same. It's almost certainly the chances of things going wrong are extremely slim and the chances of it improving my quality of life are extremely high. Lo and behold, I did the surgery on my face and it really helped my mental health, like insanely so. So I think that's kind of reassuring to remember that every time I've taken a step in transition, my experience has panned out according to the evidence, that it improved my quality of life. It made me more comfortable in my own skin. But I mean, there are always the possibility of things going wrong, right? And I think it's normal to consider that as a possibility for you. If anything, I think it's healthy to mull over the possibility that is a possibility. The possibility that's a possibility. Yeah, but I don't know. Katy, do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess my first thing that I would say is, like, without trying to sound, I don't know what the word is, condescending, is this very early days in terms of surgery for you. It's fair, it's totally reasonable to start thinking about it now and to worry about it. I mean, people, you know, lots of trans people spend their whole lives worrying about it. I certainly did, but you don't have to decide today. You don't have to decide tomorrow. You don't have to decide in 1 year. You don't even have to decide in 10 years. You want to get to a place where you're as sure as you can be before you go ahead with it. And if you're not quite there yet, then spend some extra time. What you don't want to be in this place where you're like 99% sure and you're stuck at the edge ready to jump into the water and you just can't, and you just keep going around in a loop and you put it off and off and off and off. And when you get to that stage, when you think, I'm just putting this off because I'm worrying, call back in and be like, I'm putting this off because I'm worrying, and we'll push you over the edge. But until you're in that position, you can go at your own pace. And you can take as long as you need to decide whether it's for you. And that's how I did it. Like I've said a few times before, how when I came out, I wasn't like, I am going to transition into a woman and I'm going to have all the surgeries or whatever. That isn't how I did it. I was like, I'm just going to do the next thing in front of me. I'm going to take the next step up the mountain. And, today that's laser hair removal, and maybe in 6 months that's HRT, and maybe in 6 months, and so on. And that meant when I came to the point of considering surgery, genital surgery, I was, that was the only thing on my radar. And then I could devote all of my time to researching it, talking to people who have had it, talking to people who haven't had it, or who've decided not to have it, and all of the different things in between, which gave me a much more of an understanding. And I think, calling in and asking us is a good start. I think my main advice to anyone is talk to as many trans women who have had or who have considered having it as possible. And us do good start, but go and talk to as many others as you possibly can, because everyone has different takes. And I think it is also important to talk to people who, maybe either don't think it really went well for them, or who regret getting it, or who think it was a really big mistake. When I was researching, I obviously talked to loads of trans women who said it was the best thing they ever did in their life, because that's what most of them say. But I also talked to one lady who was forced to have it by the state, and I talked to another lady who regretted it, but who was still saw herself as a woman. I talked to a man who had got it and who detransitioned and regretted it, to see how much their stories were like mine. And if they're saying, if you talk to like 3 detrans men who got genital surgery and regret it, and every single thing they say is like a tick box of your life, and then you talk to, a load of trans women and nothing they say matches up, then it's time to start asking some big questions. But even then, that doesn't have to be your final decision. But yeah, like Arden says, the first thing to do is look at the numbers and just be like, is this even a sane thing? The answer is yes. it does benefit people's lives. Then you've got to ask, is it for you? And that takes time, and it's okay to spend years on this. Like, even if you went as fast as you could, you are still probably minimum years away from this. If you haven't started medically transitioning yet, then most reputable surgeons who do this surgery will say, no, you need to have been transitioning medically for 2 years. We can argue about whether that's good or not, but that's the reality. And in that is a long time. And maybe in 2 years' time you still don't know, and that's fine. Like, as long as you're not putting it off for no reason, then take your time. That's my main advice, I think.
Okay, can I say 3 things, because you mentioned a lot of things?
Yeah, sorry, I always do.
Everything's fine. It's just I had to take notes. So the first thing is that I'm not saying anything that's like I'm not trans enough or something. I absolutely accept and acknowledge that every trans woman is a woman, basically, no matter how far transitioned, or if they stay like looking like a standard man or something and just calling themselves them, whatever. There's no steps you have to take to be trans. But I'm thinking about hormone therapy a lot. I'm thinking about my body because I'm absolutely not happy with it. And now it's like just a weight. I'm at 120 kilos, like 40 kilos over. And but I'm also thinking about getting a really female body, if that makes sense. And so I decided that I want to know by the end of the year if I want to do hormone therapy or not. Maybe that's unrealistic. I don't know. But that's
what happens if you get there? What happens if you get there and you haven't decided?
Then I would say that I'm way too unsure to consider it. And maybe
you're too unsure at this point, right? Yeah, then you could just say, well, I'll see how I feel next year.
Yeah, I would say I wouldn't like waste time thinking about it anymore and like worrying.
No, you say that.
Yeah.
So I remember
what I want to do.
Yeah, like it would be great if you could just be like, I'm going to consider whether I'm trans or not for like 1 week, and if I haven't decided yes, then I'm not. But the thing is, in my experience, you won't stop thinking about it. There's no way you'd stop yourself thinking about it. But I think, I see your like thought pattern and your reasoning, and that's fine. And I'm not trying to say you're wrong or talk you out of it. I guess I would be I would just think twice about setting yourself like a pressure, because the kind of like artificial pressure could stress you out and make you more indecisive. For sure, you don't want to be trapped just thinking about it for the next like 60 years or something. But maybe if you're still being like, oh, maybe I should start HRT in like 3 years' time, then maybe it's not ever going to go away.
I'm also not a bit. I'm a lot impatient. I'm the most impatient person that I know. So, but yeah, so like I'm thinking about it. And the other thing is with the surgery. So I live in Germany, like, and it's not usual here that you can get surgery immediately or something. I think you really have to have hormone therapy for at least a year or 2. And I wouldn't rush it anyway. So I would go full of hormone therapy, seeing how I feel, wait a year, continuing it or something, and then thinking about the surgery. It's just, I'm thinking about it now because I'm thinking about everything, and my brain is just thinking constantly about things. But
I think that it's good having a vague timeline, but don't pressure yourself to hit like targets. Even if you're impatient, tell yourself to chill out.
Yeah, sure, but I also don't want to wait another 10 years. I'm not old, but I feel pretty old. I feel like I wasted decades of my life because I mean, as a kid, that didn't affect me when I was a teenager, but I'm thinking about stuff like for 5 years already, and I'm thinking, if I had thought about it 10 years ago and would be fully transitioned now, it would be much better than now waiting another 10 years. So I want to be sure about things in the next few years. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm thinking about now. And thanks for all the information and kind words and stuff. One thing that's left is you mentioned those numbers about how many people detransition and stuff. I hear from all people on the internet a lot of things. Oh, how many people detransition? How many regret it? Blah, blah, blah. Do you really want to take the risk? The risks are so high and stuff like that. And I always feel like they just, I don't know, pull those numbers out of their ass because no one is providing any numbers. Yeah, so I can understand if someone is concerned for me because people detransition, people regret it. I'm absolutely getting that. But I think that probably most of them rushed it or something like that, or had other conditions that they thought it's that way or what they want. It's why I also have the issue I'm bipolar and autistic and stuff. And so I'm really careful about the things if I really want it or if that's just my brain saying, oh yeah, you want this other thing. And so I wanted to ask where you have those resources, if it's like if you hopefully can provide at least a website or links or something so that I and hopefully others in chat can check that out.
So there are more recent studies that I don't have the links to that really just confirm a lot of this data. But if you type in a comprehensive defense of trans people Reddit, you're going to get a thread on Reddit that has compiled pretty much every, like, from the time it was the thread was made.
Now, but yeah,
it's a bit old now, but it had every pretty much major study and every like major talking point and sources cited like for or against different positions and arguments. It's a great resource to start with. There's also one of our hosts here, Josie, is doing the updated version of this study, but the National Center for Transgender Equality study, I think if you type in SAGE, I think was the like publisher. That is a great resource on like detransition rates and things like that. So there's definitely more newer resources on all of this stuff too, but I don't think there's been a like mass compiled resource in the way as that one Reddit thread, but I think that's a good place to get started. And then to kind of use that maybe as a jumping off point to think of like search terms to update with like modern, newer updated studies and things like that.
Yeah, I second the comprehensive defense Reddit thing. It is pretty good.
I found it. Google showed it to me.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna check that out, and thanks for that. And I'm trying to get as much information as I can, and hopefully I can call in a few months later and say I decided something, or I don't know. But
yeah, you're totally welcome to call back.
Thanks for everything. It's been really helpful, and thanks
for
the show in general and stuff. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
for calling
Sophie.
in.
Have a wonderful day, and hopefully we'll hear back from you soon. Bye.
And personal recommendation: having a vagina is pretty cool.
I think it's interesting with that Reddit thread. There is so I've heard a lot of pushback recently on how strong those studies are from even some left kind of leading people. But I think it's interesting because I was talking to Ben about this earlier today, and how many commonplace treatments and conditions have similar or weaker evidentiary status, but never get the pushback that trans healthcare gets. So before you criticize, before you criticize the efficacy of the data, definitely be aware of like, one, it's incredibly difficult to perform. Like, you're not going to get double-blind longitudinal studies. They're difficult and expensive, and in a lot of cases,
it's
almost
impossible
unethical.
For surgery.
Yeah,
it's impossible. It's like double-blind. We actually gave you the placebo vagina.
Well, sure. In terms of surgery, it doesn't make sense, but like a lot of the types of data that people are asking for would be unethical to perform those kind of studies to get the data on trans people. And again, there's a lot of similar evidentiary levels of evidence for other treatments that are not pushed back on. Like I know there's still a lot of controversy about psychotropic meds. They're great for a lot of people. They have a lot of efficacy, but the data isn't perfect. Prostatectomies are another one. Ben was mentioning CPR has a lot of drawbacks because when you're doing that to someone, you often damage their internal organs and their ribs and things like this. So definitely just it's fair to be critical of the data, absolutely. But, within the context of what kind of levels of evidence are expected for medical treatments.
The classic example of this is when they're like, oh, the regret rate for trans people is nearly 1% or whatever. And you can make that sound scary if you like, but then you got to compare it to the context. What is the regret rate for surgery in general? The regret rate for knee surgery is something like 30%. So you just it needs to be in the context. And we're like, this study only has 100 people. That doesn't sound great. But then how many other studies have more than 100 people that recommend the same type of healthcare? And how many studies are there? And what quality was the data they had? And all these other kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there isn't enough research into trans healthcare for sure. I mean, that's just a fact. But the idea, and also there's this other kind of presumption. It's sure, you have 30 studies saying that transition benefits, genital surgery benefits trans people. And I have that one Sweden study that kind of implies that the suicide rate goes up, which doesn't really make a point about anything. But, we've got two sides. Therefore, the default is we should stop doing it until we have more data. It's what are you talking about? If you stop doing it, we wouldn't get more data. And there's no evidence to stop doing it. And we do have some evidence that it's beneficial. In fact, all the evidence we do have points in the direction of beneficial. It doesn't mean we have enough evidence to say, conclusively to what level of accuracy and stuff. But certainly everything we have is pointing in this direction. Nothing we have is pointing in another direction. We don't have any sensible alternatives. This is the best thing. This is how medical science works. You're not going to prove something to 100% before you can do it, because you need to do it in order to prove it. So,
right. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, rant past. If you would like to feature in the show, and unless you want to talk about Harry Potter, then what you can do, well, I guess if you want to talk about Harry Potter, if you insist, you can send in a super chat of $5 or more, or in your local currency. We accept all the currencies here. The wackier the currency, the better, in fact. And we will read it out any second. So we're just about to start super chats now. Please do send in your hashtag Team Katy. We both have to roll a dice for this one. Seems unlikely. I don't actually.
Can I show you something cool that's life-changing for me? Look at the scoreboard. So before, how sometimes you'll get mad at me because of how long it takes for me to curate chats and send them through and keep the scoreboard updated.
You're pretty lazy, to be honest. Yeah.
That's actually exactly what it is. But anyway, they added the functionality where I with shortcuts to control the scoreboard, so I can now.
Nice.
Oh my goodness, it's so nice.
The freedom.
Wait, does this go into negatives? Oh my God, it does. Okay, wait. So go ahead.
Okay, that's a good start. We start.
Oh my God.
We start with minus 69, and we'll see if anyone can get to 0.
I just Googled D20 and you get a virtual die. I got a 15. So whoever gets that higher roll gets Alyssa's vote.
You have to read the chat, right?
Oh, you can.
Yeah, if grilling radicalizes people, is it better to roast them instead? Incredibly lame pun. Hashtag team. What'd you get?
I got 20. I promise. I swear on my life.
Fuck you.
Let me.
I feel like not only is that crazy. If we're going by D&D rules, I'm pretty sure you should deserve 2 points. That's a
no.
You got a natural 20. Do you know what a nat 20 is?
Yes, whoever gets the higher number with 1d20 gets the vote. That's all it is. It's not 2 votes.
Okay,
it's
fine.
1 vote.
I won't do it.
Mind
Here's
if
the
I
deal.
get
Here's the deal. I'm not going to do a second vote, but I would suggest somebody super chat $5 or more saying for the nat 20, because it feels like it needs to be rewarded. So while I'm not going to be a tyrant, you in chat could be.
This is Jimmy playing favorites. Jimmy's bigoted against other Americans. He's self-hating.
You know that's not even close to true. I'm almost always on your side.
He is, pretty racist against English people, but I think that's quite a rational position to have. Anyway, thank you very much, Alyssa.
Yes, thanks, Alyssa. Also, I totally support roasting people.
I support roast dinners. Next. $10 from Olivia Maynard. I love this show. Thanks, Olivia.
Thanks, Olivia.
Next, please.
£6.69 from Malika Kuntz. Anyone want to play the new Harry Potter should install Skyrim, mod it, and do all the side quests with a new character and have a swashbuckle. #Team Arden. Great. Yeah, I'm sure there's lots of other options for good games that you can play aside from Harry Potter that might scratch the itch. I know I picked up Forspoken recently. There's a lot of issues with it, not gonna lie, but once you get into the overworld and you get like your freedom from like the intro stuff, it's so much fucking fun. Highly recommend.
I've been playing Pokemon cards.
Hey, what are the stakes?
Nice.
We didn't do stakes yet. What are the
I hate red meat.
Last time with Ben and Josie, they did a thing with whoever lost had to start a tweet with the thing I like about @MattWashBlog is. And it ended up being amazing and super funny. And then what we did was if they got a combined score of 50, so it's a combined score of 25 for anyone to win or lose. But because they got a combined score of 50, they both had to do it. We could do something like that.
Wow, 50 is pretty good. So we did the Matt Walsh one for me last time I was on. I had to reply to 5 of his tweets. So
how'd that go?
I don't know. I wrote something angry about 5 of his tweets, retweeted them all, and then he hasn't acknowledged that exist yet, which is good. So
that's so wild to me. Like JK's gone for you, but not Matt Walsh. That's so weird.
Yeah, I'm British, innit? And so and he's not. So he probably just sees me as like a waste of time.
Or he's got a crush.
I would agree.
He might be intimidated by my hair.
Do y'all want music in the background right now? We could add music to this. The show's gotten much fancier. What do you do? No, that was a fast
next time.
Okay. All right.
It was changing the rules. Yeah, right. Okay. So what is this? Someone super chatting an idea for a punishment.
Yeah, I know. We're too lazy. Be creative for us.
So rare I get to watch live. Yay. Glad you did, Jackie. I did a predictive index test at work recently and I skewed my result due to avoiding words my dysphoria didn't want to associate with. No consequences, but an interesting side effect. I don't know what predictive index is.
Yeah, I think we need a little bit more context on predictive index of what is it trying to be predictive of, and
I guess it's some standard test.
No consequences for avoiding the word, but interesting side effects. Wouldn't side effects be consequences, though?
I think she means an interesting side effect of being trans. Pedantic arsehole Arden doesn't read
That's
properly. Thanks, Jackie.
True.
Team Katy. Good start.
Boo. 110 Czech Korunas. Is that what that is?
I think it's Corona or Kuna.
Team whoever likes just eating plain cabbage. Plain cabbage is actually my favorite thing. Every day I eat plain cabbage all day long. So
by the way,
I'll take that vote.
It's Karuna.
Yeah. By the way, no irony, no sarcasm here. In Japan, one of the like restaurant places that's one of their kind of McDonald's-y things. I think it's called like Toriki or something. I don't know. Sorry, any Japanese people watching. But it's just a place where you can go and have drinks and you can go and have like, cheap food come up on a table, like finger food and stuff. One of the dishes there is literally just a raw cabbage diced up with sesame oil on it and sesame seeds. And when I first saw it, I was like, what is this? Like, it's just a fucking cabbage. I haven't even cooked it. and it is unlimited cabbage, bottomless cabbage. I was like, what a ridiculous concept. But when you're drinking beers and stuff, and you've just got chopsticks in your hand, and there's just an oily cabbage in front of you, we slammed for it. And it was like, I was like, who is going to eat this cabbage? And like 20 minutes later, I was like, we need a cabbage refill. So I like raw cabbage, unironically. So I think I get.
I don't know. Whoa! I came.
You
in
didn't have
first
the story,
because
do you?
I don't like raw cabbage.
You're lying, though. I wasn't lying.
I think just because you've been to Japan, so what? You're privileged. You get to travel to Japan and eat this fancy raw cabbage restaurant.
Fancy raw cabbage.
Because of that, I don't deserve the vote.
Don't worry, the sis is here to start figuring this out. Arden? Do you legitimately like plain cabbage?
No,
I don't know if I've ever had raw cabbage.
He's never even had it.
Who eats raw cabbage aside from in Japan? I don't think I've had the opportunity. But I
make
it
home sometimes.
You have raw cabbage at home? Is that what you said?
Sometimes I've done it a few times for guests. When I have Asian food and I have guests, I do.
So I'll let Katy, I think, gets the advantage, but I'll let Katy decide. Do you want to just put this to another roll of a D20?
No, I give it to her.
I think I'll just win this one fair and square. I'll tell you what. I'll eat oily cabbage on stream next time. Regardless
I have a good
of the result of this. No, only if we get 25 votes.
Wait, what if that's the thing? I don't know if it's much of a punishment, but
it's quite nice.
I have an idea for the punishment, actually. Are both of you set up to stream you playing video games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Loser has to play 1 hour of QWOP. QWOP. Do you know that game?
What is?
Oh, I remember QWOP.
It's miserable. It's a miserable. I asked people what's like a miserable game, and I had forgotten about QWOP, and then they said, and you have to play it for 1 hour. You can't stop playing for 1 hour. It's basically like a track and field game where you control.
Yeah,
the stakes are high, and so then if we get a combined 50 points, we can change the tier. If you're like, okay, we'll make those the stakes, but the bottom tier needs to be a combined of like 30 or 40 and whatever y'all want to do.
Can you do a multiplayer? Because I think it might be fun if we had to do a multiplayer game where one of me and Arden had to play, but then there was some kind of punishment for the. I don't know, like you've got to play Mario Kart, but if you lose, you have to be like Toad or something.
Why are you trying? You're trying to pick good games, though. The
it
whole
doesn't
point
have to be a good game, but this one looks
is,
like it would wind me up very quickly, and I would lose interest. It needs to be one that's like.
There is now a multiplayer QWOP, so we could say if we get a combined score of 50, you both have to play it together on a stream.
I'll do that. At least if Arden's suffering with me.
But, I could do that.
But if we only do a combined score of 25, only the person who loses has to do it.
I don't know if I can do it on my own.
That's
fine. Rubbish.
I
don't think it'll be very
fun. What if I commit to showing up to mock you the whole time?
I don't think that it will be as fun for people watching as they might be thinking it would be.
It's not it's the point is to make it a little bit miserable. This is like, I'm not trying to chemically burn anyone's tongue anymore like we did to Ben.
No, but I would do that. Like people watching me eat something horrible would have a good time. People watching me play a game that I'm not enjoying would be like uninspiring content, and they'd be like, "Oh, this wasn't as good as."
Have you ever had American Warheads?
No, but I'm up for eating challenges.
All right,
I once dislocated my jaw in an eating challenge and had to have a load of therapy afterwards because I kept dislocating afterwards.
So do you want to make it, if the score is a combined 25, the loser has to eat 15. They have to match Ben. It has to at least suck the sour off of 50. I can get you whatever you need.
Wait. Hold on, but I'm already indebted for my next episode with Ben to have to eat Warhead. So I don't know.
Are you already on a Warhead
challenge? Yeah. I'm
already on a generic challenge.
The thing I liked about the QWOP thing is it is miserable, and you're like, I don't want to do it. It sounds miserable. Like these are the stakes.
It's not. It would. The thing is, I don't think I could make it interesting for people watching. That's what I'm saying. I think we need to pick maybe a different game.
I think you would talk shit about the game the entire time because getting the controls. The thing that's terrible about it is how hard it is to control, and that's what people will love watching you melt down over.
But this is like designed to be a shit game. What would be better is if it was a game that was trying to be good.
No,
it was terrible, like Sonic.
No, that is.
And then it would be like, this stupid game, like Harry Potter. If I had to play Harry Potter, that would be a punishment.
Why are we committing to? Hold on, we can play a stupid, annoying game, that just doesn't have to be QWOP. Is there any other games that are similar to QWOP that are equally frustrating, that are maybe
the audience could
probably
chat in some options?
Probably, okay. But all the ones Katy has suggested so far, it's like, well, what if instead of that we play a fun game? It's like, well, these
none of the ones
suck.
have said a fun. Mario Kart's like the least fun game on earth.
Whoa.
See, this is why I don't think you should get a vote in the game. How dare you? How dare you? Mario Kart's amazing.
I'd play that Google game with the dinosaur that jumped over the cactuses. Anyway, $20.
Wait, is it me? I don't know. I'm doing it anyway. I find the anti-Semitism in the Harry Potter game even more troubling than the turf who built the Wizarding World. Yeah, I have complex feelings about this. I definitely think, right, when I was saying earlier at the very beginning of the show, I think as an adult we can reflect on maybe the poor parts of the book and the analogies that can be drawn between like the goblins and stereotypes of Jewish people are obviously very prevalent. But this maybe is, coming from a non-Jewish person. Maybe I'm not clued into this or something. I'm not sure I'm convinced that the significance of the goblins in the story plot means that the game is anti-Semitic. Maybe I'm totally off base. Maybe there's some sort of connection there that I'm missing. I see people saying that, and all I see them pointing to is that the goblins are a big theme, and I don't like goblins. Even outside of Harry Potter, are huge in fantasy. So it's not like they look like goblins from other fantasy things. So it's hard for me to see that. But maybe
for the record,
wrong.
I agree with you, but I can explain it to you. The idea is that they look like old, especially pre-1940. The whole the specific design of the goblins, them wearing suits and then running the world's money is like, it's like you took an anti-Jewish pamphlet from 1920 and went, let's make these our goblins with pictures included. Like there are pictures of Jews in these pre-1920 stuff. Now the question being whether or not that was the intention or whether or not that makes it actually anti-Semitic to go, let's make these monster people. But then the thing that comes on is the whole idea of like they're the bad guys for wanting independence and freedom from servitude and stuff like that, for doing the Goblin Rebellion. This is the things people talk about.
Yeah. Anyway, one thing I will add that I do know more about is multiple people that she's promoted, including, well, I'm not going to say any names because we don't have freedom of speech in the UK. Multiple people that she's promoted think that George Soros and Jennifer Pritzker and a couple of other Jewish people are behind the trans movement. So I think that's maybe even more worrying. But again, I'm not Jewish, so I couldn't say. But anyway, next.
I think you should try QWOP right now, Katy, because it's a browser game. I just want to see you try it for at least a second and then decide whether or not you'll commit to it.
But wouldn't that ruin the surprise?
Well, what surprise? You basically said you won't do it.
I just don't think it'll be fun to watch me do it.
I think it'll be fun to watch how much you hate it.
It won't wind me up. It's not the kind of game that will wind me up. It'll just be boring, I think. I don't get wound up by this kind of thing. I get wound up by different things.
Yeah.
I have a lot of patience for bullshit.
Yeah. Oh, I will say one more note on this thing. The interesting thing is the whole anti-Semitic angle didn't become a part of the public conscious and public conversation, even though a bunch of people on Twitter will say, I noticed it all the time, until Jon Stewart called it out about a year or two ago. And literally within a week, he was like, hey, yes, I said all of that. That's true. And he was the one who said, I don't think that makes this inherently anti-Semitic and that she should be canceled for this thing at the time. And so it is also interesting that the person who even brought it into public consciousness doesn't agree with now the way that it's being taken.
And I heard, maybe this is, terminally online propaganda stuff, but I could swear I heard that there was some organization that talks about Holocaust and remembrance and all that stuff, saying our official position on this thing is that we don't view it as anti-Semitic. But I don't know, that could be something a fucking GC tweeted that got on my timeline somehow. So I don't know. Right. That's why I was measuring all my statements here with I don't know.
Don't think
maybe
really we're the people qualified to make this decision. I'm bored of Harry Potter. Let's move on.
I'm 0.1% Jewish, so Just kidding. That was a joke. That's true, but
All right, Elizabeth
joking.
Warren.
Thank you.
So we have 25 Polish zloty, I think it's pronounced like, from Dori Kadlabowski. I won't be playing the new Harry Potter game. I'm waiting for The Last of Us Part 1 on PC. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've heard that's meant to be a good game, but I've never played it or seen it. Hashtag Team Katy, thank you very much, Dori.
T. Martin's fucking sleeping, apparently. Guys just want to see me tortured. Don't you guys get enough of like your kinks filled on my other platforms? Why you got to bring that here? You wanted to see me do terrible shit? $5 from RPG Debunks. 3 words as to why Bulbasaur is the best. Brock through walls. Any speedrunner knows this beautiful glitch.
So there's like a classic Pokemon original glitch called Brock through walls, which allows you to walk through walls. And I didn't know you needed Bulbasaur for it, but yeah, basically you can like as you go to leave Pewter City, then the person who like stops you to take you back to Brock, then you can press pause and then you like save, and then when you load the game back up, you can walk through walls, something like that. Anyway, Bulbasaur is the best, number 1. Next.
Wrong.
How about loser up to combine 25? Loser has to play 2 to 3 rounds of chess with Matt on one of Matt's streams.
Oh my God.
And then,
I'll do that.
And then, but if you get a combined 50, the 2 of you have to play QWOP for 30 minutes against each other.
Okay.
Is that it? Are these the stakes?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, cool.
I mean, Matt hasn't agreed to this, but he'll probably agree. I mean, we'll see.
Matt's consent in this matter doesn't matter. Let's actually say loser still has to do the 3 rounds of chess with Matt either way, and then combine 50 QWOP. Yeah, cool. That's dope.
Sounds good. Everyone stop voting. Next.
We got 110 check coronas again from Naresh. Let me guess, someone stole your gender role. God damn it. I had butter too.
Naresh is here. I like Naresh. Next.
1 second, I'm having to resort chats. Just vamp.
Oh, okay. Well, I've spent Czech koruna before, but I've never spent Polish zloty. I haven't been to Poland. I'd like to go to Poland, but it's a bit of a dubious location in the current political climate, which is unfortunate because I'm sure it's really nice. Prague is like one of the best cities in Europe. Absolutely love Prague. I probably said this last time that we got to talk about Czechia, but like it's a good city. And the drinks there are so cheap. Like, you basically walk into a pub and you sit down and they just put a beer in front of you. Like, you don't ask for anything. And then when you finish or when you're near the end of drinking, they just put another one down and you like have to tell them to stop. And I remember one time went in with some friends and we were just like there all morning. We had breakfast and lunch and there was like 6 people or something. And then at the end, the bill came and it was like 50 quid. Or like, we've been there for like 6 hours. It's like incredible. It's a good city.
Damn.
Strong recommend.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I wish I could travel and experience that kind of thing. Probably will one day, but not.
You got
all of my money goes to my fucking snake addiction currently. So, you know.
Ben's coming to England this year. It's going to be exciting.
I know. You told me about it.
Probably Ben's final moments alive will be at the pub that I always go to.
Did we see this one already?
With 60 Jaeger bombs.
Yes, we did this one.
Okay. So then I think this is where we are. There was a glitch that reset my thing.
We've done this one.
To get everything.
Oh no, we haven't. No. Excellent. 110 check from Naresh. I used to be a gender like you, then I took a dysphoria to the knee.
Oh my God.
I know the meme.
Me too. Skyrim's the greatest game ever.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
I've never played it.
Oh, it's so good.
Never even seen it.
See, I played it.
I know this.
And everyone's like, you just got to get further in. You just got to get further in. And I'm like, yeah, but I played like the first 2 or 3 hours and I still was not having fun. So
yeah, like it's hard because I would say I was already having fun that quickly. I could also defend, like, depends on how you play the first 2 to 3 hours, whether or not like you started really crafting your character. The amazing thing about Skyrim is there's so much you can do, and there's 1,000 ways to play the game and get to the end that feel uniquely different than each other. And you also don't have to get to the end. You can do full campaigns level side quests and let the dragons just fuck off if you want. It's amazing. It's so
good. Probably controversial, but this is what I feel about Final Fantasy VII. I've started it like 3 times and I just don't care.
That's me too.
Anyway, someone can tweet super chat in and tell me I'm wrong about that. Next,
cancel.
Please.
By the way, a lot of people don't know the I was an adventurer like you and then I took an arrow to the knee actually refers to getting married. It doesn't actually mean they got hurt. That's what that means.
Oh. Another 110 Shakarunas from Naresh. So a genderqueer appears at this moment in the turning of the age. I don't know if I get this. I feel like this is another reference. Based on your last super chats, I'm assuming this is a reference, but it goes over my head.
I think it might
appears
be Lord of the
at this moment in the turning. Yeah, it does sound like a...
I feel like I can hear Galadriel saying it.
So a dragonborn appears in this moment at the turning of the age.
Oh, it's still Skyrim.
What's
Never
this
mind.
from?
Skyrim.
Okay. Elder Scrolls, yeah, okay.
They're all Skyrim, okay.
Skyrim is about the dragonborn. That's what the...
Give me a Lord of the Rings one. Thanks, Naresh. 110 check from Naresh. Here in his shrine that they have forgotten, here do we toil that we might be remember. By the night we reclaim what by day was stolen. Far from ourselves he grows ever near to us. Facts.
I just know
I don't know what that means, but okay.
It's another Skyrim reference.
Yeah, okay.
I think this will be another one too.
100 Chakrunas from Naresh again. Our eyes once were blinded, now through him do we see. Our hands once were idle, now through them does he speak. And when the world shall listen, and when the world shall see. Wonderful.
He's talking about
poetic.
Bulbasaur.
I'm moved to tears.
He's talking about Mirak from Skyrim.
Of course, Mirak. How could we not know?
You know, Mirak from down the pub. 100 Nareshes from Czech Crowns. And when the world remembers, that world shall cease to be. Oh, wow. It's exciting.
You better hope we don't remember. That sounds
It's a bit like waking up from a dream.
This is also Mirak. I think the one before the other one was Mirak too.
Yeah. Sounds like they're all part of the same thing.
Y'all are such
Thanks,
casuals.
Naresh.
I know, filthy casuals. 6969. Nice. Canadian from Neil Armstrong. Whoa. Great to see the OG team. Thanks for all you do. It has helped me be a bit better ally. # team no to mayo.
That's me.
I'm sorry you live your
Thank
life
you very
in denial
much.
of flavor and joy.
The
Just like
first
bland,
man to
boring
walk on the
burgers.
moon is anti-slime, and he's Canadian. Amazing. And he looks like a honey badger. Very exciting. Thanks, Neil.
Oh my god.
Damn. I got Cookies calling me out, Snopesing that I'm wrong about the marriage thing. But so maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just going to say Snopes is wrong and I'm a conservative now because that's their move.
Cis people are always wrong on this show.
Yeah,
I'm going to only give the poll another, and once it hits 6 after the hour, the poll is ending. So get your shit done, get your vote in for
Team Arden. Let's go. I have no
fast.
votes. You got to give me this one. All it takes is a
We
fucking
don't need
button
votes
click.
from Arden.
Click it real good.
$20 Enos from Tiffany M. A few bucks for the OG hosts just for being rad. Thank you very much. Great to see you both back. Sorry for this transphobe BS you all have been dealing with. Thanks for all you do, and shout out to the crew. Yeah, shout out to the crew. Thanks very much, Tiffany. That's very
Big
kind.
time. Yeah, getting trained in production. I gotta say, Jimmy is just a lazy jerk, and we should keep bullying him. Absolutely. No, just kidding.
True,
it's really fucking hard. So $5 from, especially when he's hosting at the same time, $5 from Michaela Throne. Thank you both for the emotional work you put into this show. What is a random topic outside of the show content you could debate over for hours. Debate over in particular. I mean, I think we both probably could do atheism stuff, but I don't know, like talking about sometimes the ethics of animal keeping is really interesting. Even my therapist objects to my reptile hobby, which is interesting. We kind of had a little spat about it. I don't know. Topics
I can talk about music genres
ever. Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Like no limit on anything. I have multiple times. But honestly, I can debate anything, and I can just pick a side and argue for the garbage position too. But if to really get me trapped, just got to say something that is false, like a logical contradiction, and then pretend you don't understand. I've had this before, literally being rescued at a club by my friend, and she's like, "What are you doing? You've been here for like 5 hours talking to this one man." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm trying to explain." And she was like, she interrupted because she heard me saying like, "Do you agree that 3 is bigger than 2?" And she's like, "Right, Kate, you're in an argument hole. You need saving from this guy." But he didn't. He was making a false dichotomy argument and then just like pretending to not know what a false dichotomy was. And I was just like, you accept there's more than 2 positions here, and you accept that 3 is bigger than 2, so your claim that of a false dichotomy is false. And he was just like, "No, because it's not this one, is it?" I was like, and then it was 4 a.m. and she had to save me. Anyway, lots of things.
Arden wins the poll on Brexit numbers.
Thank fucking God. No, I get that though. I definitely am similar. Easily triggered into debating stupid stuff that I don't need to be just because somebody is factually wrong, and I feel compelled to point it out. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't need to point out every single time.
I think that's why we're friends.
And that's probably why we both spend a lot of time on Twitter.
Yeah. Thanks, Michaela.
I mean, at least when I don't debate people on Twitter, I can text Katy and say, "Did you see this person? I'm really upset that they're wrong." And she'll be like, "Yeah, but just calm down about it."
That did happen the other day, actually, didn't it? 666 from Bill Bolton. How can I tell if I am really trans or experiencing AGP? Also, did any media help crack your egg? An anime called Ranma 1/2 was mine. So, I mean, yeah, I think this is a call-in question, because there's a lot of things we could discuss here. I mean, there are definitely people who have some weird sexual fetish about being forced to be a woman, but it seems to just be a sex thing. If it's just a sex thing for you, then do your sex thing. I mean, it's probably driven by misogyny if that's the case, seeing women as inferior, and that's a good thing to cure in your life. So go and read some feminism. But it's worth bearing in mind that anti-trans people call absolutely everything AGP.
Yeah,
everything and anything. I'm sure there will be someone saying that because I've eaten raw cabbage that makes me AGP. It's kind of just fucking garbage. Shows, no, I didn't really think I saw anything with a trans person in before I came out.
Oh, see, it wasn't necessarily a trans person for me, but there was definitely media that cracked my egg. Like, there was a whole episode of The Fairly Odd Parents where Timmy wished to be a girl, and he was a girl for the whole episode.
I remember that one. Yeah,
that shit was
all of those
deeply impressed into my brain. There was another one, Kids Next Door, where they had a girlifying ray gun, and they would shoot people, and they would turn into girls, and I was like, oh my God, shoot me, please.
Animorphs. The series Animorphs. That was probably my awakening to the concept. Like, I remember reading that when I was like in year 2, so it's probably like 6 or 7, and just being like, my first thought was like, well, you just turn into a girl, right? Like that would be the first thing I'd do with this magical power.
Right.
Oh man, Animorphs.
Did you see the super thread last week on Twitter that someone did about literally book by book the most fucked up thing in the book? I had read all of them and didn't realize when I was a kid.
And Animorphs.
Yeah, so full of like tons of fucked up stuff.
Someone link me that, please.
I will. I think you and I will geek out over it if you want, because I loved that series.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, definitely.
The bit I always remember is when they turned into freshwater fish in the sea. That really stressed me out. Anyway,
oh my God.
When they
$10
turned
from
into
Dark
sharks.
Matter.
Hey,
do you remember when
you
they
did
turned
the
into
last one.
sharks and then shrunk down and went into the veins to like they were like blood sharks in somebody's body?
No.
Yeah, they like
$10.
it was
$10 from Dark Matter. I identify as Mayo American, but only because $1, the $1 rule. Is it possible for another person to ever really love me? No, it isn't. You will die alone. You mayonnaise loving weirdo.
So you should have put hashtag Team Arden in there. That would be such an easy vote, but you didn't do it. Why? Why do you not love me enough?
Slimy people don't support each other because they're slimy. There's a reason
Katie,
slimy is an insult.
I'm gonna sue you, okay?
The reason slimy Snake Arden would be slimy and not getting support.
Snakes aren't slimy. What?
I knew you'd say that.
They may stink sometimes, especially my fucking hogs over there. That little rack system has got arthropods, or what do you call them, Katie? Woodlice? And
yeah, woodlice.
They're really cute. We got some cool ones in our hogs, but they're stinky.
Anyway. Can I just read one or two of these like fucked up things that happened in Animorphs to you?
Go for it.
I'd rather you didn't, but okay.
In book number 2, the team admonishes Rachel for turning into an elephant to scare off a person who was chasing her to rape her. And they tell her she was wrong for basically morphing in front of a rapist.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm speechless. Okay.
Yeah. Then there's so many good ones. In book 3, Tobias has his crisis of like, because he's permanently turned into a hawk, he has his crisis of eating a rat for the first time and tries to kill himself as a hawk.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he like just dives into the floor or something, doesn't he?
These are child's books.
I remember it was distressing. You know, I used to have a thing about going to sleep with my ear exposed in case of Zerg or whatever went in it, and I used to sleep like this for like years afterwards.
That's
the distressing books. They're really good though. Well, they were good when I was a kid. Next, please.
Next. $9.99 from Ramona. I recently got carded at a dispensary in Vermont, as you do, and the person behind the counter said I have a lovely name. Anyway, that's been keeping me afloat for the last couple of weeks. Also, hashtag Team Kate. Wow, a fellow Vermonter would rather vote for Katie.
That's a really nice story. I'm so glad you shared it.
Oh, you brought me
a snake visitor.
Hello.
I heard you talk about it.
Yes.
Hello, Stinky Snake.
Arsenal
Why are they
is
stinky?
a hognose snake. Hogs musk a lot, and their musk is particularly stinky because this is about as big as they get. So their defense mechanisms are like a cobra, flattening out their belly to look big. They flatten out. They have stretchy skin. Or musking, which smells really awful. And their musk takes a very long time for the smell to go away. But they're called hognoses because they have these shovel-shaped faces that let them burrow more easily. Turn sideways so you can see. I don't know if you can really tell. They've got these flat hognose faces, though. They're kind of like pugs.
What's this one's name?
Arsenal.
Arsenal.
Yeah, we've been watching the Arrow, the CW show that's on Netflix currently, and there is a character named Arsenal. So since he's red, that
Arsenal,
character's red.
Arsenal is in the selection of weapons, or Arsenal is in the football team?
Arsenal isn't a selection of weapons.
Wait, Matt, don't go. Does Matt know the stakes?
Oh, did you hear about the stakes for if we lose that you're included?
I'm included in what?
One of us.
You have to do 15 backflips.
Today?
No. Whoever loses today has to play you 3 games of chess. That's our punishment.
I'm
Tell him I'm gonna win.
It'll be good fun.
Does he know about Quap?
Tell him I'm gonna win.
Anything else you need?
Nope. I think that's probably it. Unless, I mean, you wanted to play Snake Charmer and
no.
Okay.
I'm working.
Okay, bye. Okay.
Next, please. $10 from Mike B. Team Mayo. Fuck you, Mike B. Mustard and ketchup are cool too. People like what they like. No, that's not true. People don't like mayonnaise and they pretend to like it in order to punish me. No use trying to force someone to like something they don't like. Well, that's the point for Arden. Well, there's no hashtags, so perhaps not.
Wait, I should be at 3, right? I had one early. I got the overall vote, and then this one.
Yeah, I'm Team Mayo Mustard. I'm gonna. This is a $10. If it were a mere $5, you know.
We need the hashtags. Are you guys?
Okay.
In book 12, Rachel gives birth to a crocodile.
$50 from good old Max Tech. Wow, that's really generous. Katy, I really want to thank you for hatching me and apologize for dumping a lot of panic on you over Twitter while I was speedrunning the stages of acceptance. I'm shopping for therapists to get the ball rolling later this year.
Oh, amazing. That's good to know. Thank you very much for your kind donation. Next, please. $4.99 from another Arden. A better Arden, I presume.
Could have just hashtagged
Could have hashtagged it with the team, no mayo, no slime, I'm better than the original Arden. Could have.
Why are you so hostile today? Are you mad at me? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm not mad at you, I just don't like you full stop.
Okay, that's fair.
In book 16, we find out that Bill Gates is Visser 3's twin brother and is a yurt cannibal.
What?
I just like.
I mean, true.
I miss these books. $4.99 from another Arden again. Sorry about the blank message. I always mess these things up. And end up overspending. Anywho, hashtag Team Katy. Get the fuck out of here. I don't love you. Love you none.
This is a real Arden.
Bye.
Replacement. Let me push this fake Arden off screen.
Bye.
Thanks, another Arden. By the way, that's 8 points.
Despicable.
+1, me please. $9.99 from Claire. If anyone wants Harry Potter entertainment made by non-transphobes, I cannot recommend highly enough the podcast Fanatical Fix and where to find them. Hashtag Trick the Line 2023. Hashtag Team Arden. By the way, I should be on 8. Please.
Cool.
Thank you. No, why? Arden's not a 5. Arden's on 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, where did I get the?
Now, this.
No, this is a fifth. This is a fourth one.
No, because we had to add the one for the poll, the chat poll, and she was already at 4 before you read this one, and this one added the point. No, she wasn't. I didn't press it twice.
Jimmy's really smart. Okay, look, I don't know why you're questioning Jimmy.
Do you want me to go back through every super? I'm telling you that if something got delayed before this, it was because I realized it. I haven't accidentally double hit or anything.
People watching back, if you're watching this afterwards, count up the points and write in comments who is right, because I know it's me.
Katy, you're so desperate to win. It's not a good look for you.
It is pretty weird being desperate when I'm posed against you, someone who's clearly my inferior. So,
aw, it's cute that you think that. Thank you, Claire. $5 from good old Max Peck. Whoops, forgot to say hashtag Team Arden. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you.
Now he's desperate. Goodness sake. Thank you very much.
It's just a simple mistake. I mean, come on.
25 Polish Lottie from Dory Kadlobowski. Hashtag Team Placebo Vag.
That was your term you invented. I don't know who this goes to, though. Like, I think we'll move on.
Well, we're going to have to investigate to see who got the placebo.
This is an awkward conversation to be having live on air.
$20 from Luke Shumway. That's a good surname. Question from my mom and dad. Why should I believe that someone is trans rather than believing that they have a mental illness? I'll pass your wisdom on. Your show's been educational to me whilst leaving. Thank you. Hashtag Team Katy. Thank you very much, Luke. The first thing that I would say is that pretty much every major medical organization in the world now agrees that being trans isn't a mental illness, and that it was only a mental illness in the first place for political reasons, the same as being gay was. So you can say, well, you, Dad, know nothing about this topic at all. You've not met a trans person. You haven't studied this for your entire life. And the people who have studied this for their entire lives have come to the conclusion that it isn't a mental illness. And the second thing is, why are you calling it a mental illness in the first place? What does that mean to you? Does that mean that trans people are therefore crazy and can be dismissed? Because that's kind of garbage, because like depression is a mental illness. And people who are depressed still know what reality is. They still know what's best for them in their life. They still live a normal life. They can still be trusted to do normal tasks. Like, just saying something is a mental illness to try and disregard it is also false. It wouldn't matter if being trans was a mental illness. The reality is that transition is the best treatment that we have, that we know about, and it's what all the scientists and experts recommend, and it's what all the data shows. So it doesn't really matter, but also it's not one, because that's also what the data shows, and it doesn't make any sense to call it one.
I also think
call in.
This should
I'll
be
fight
a call.
you, mate.
yeah, I was gonna say call in with this one, because this one I think it could be a really interesting, more in-depth conversation.
I should be on 10. What's going on?
You're on 10.
I was getting to it.
Oh.
God damn, Katy. $5 from Generally Skeptical. This may be a niche question, but have you met any trans individuals with DID, dissociative identity disorder? I'm struggling to find people like this. Would love to hear their story. Well, there's definitely people on Twitter who I've seen talk about. You might see, I think, within the culture of people who have DID, it's more common to refer to themselves as plural or like systems. So if you're looking for those terms, that might help you find those people. I have more thoughts on this, but
so is I don't know if I know enough about these terms. This is different to depersonalization?
Yes. Oh, well, okay. So depersonalization is not a disorder. It is a symptom, and that is the experience of being dissociated from your body such that you don't feel like you are like the human person inhabiting your body. It's like a phenomenon that would co-occur with DID. DID is just the added feature of, as you depersonalize or dissociate, a sort of alter would front. This is a super complex and controversial topic, though, and field. And I will remind anyone that if you want to call in, again, this is a very controversial field, even amongst experts in the field. And we are not experts in this field. And so before we go making this like a trans issue, I urge people to really read up on this topic.
I was going to say the same thing no matter what you said. I would actually say maybe don't go looking for it on Twitter or TikTok, because you're going to find a lot of terrible information on it.
Yeah, they were asking where to find people. And I was like, you will have no shortage of finding people who claim to have DID. And I'm not trying to say that to invalidate whether or not they do have DID. I'm just saying it is a controversial diagnosis, and you should definitely do your research before talking to people about it. Let alone us.
People need to be aware that the actual current expertise, the current experts are debating whether DID exists in the form that it's currently understood to exist. So it is a very complex topic, and you should be very cautious in this world.
Agreed.
In book 29, I'm just kidding. I just wanted to lighten the mood a little. Though they do have basically Andalite COVID in book 29. But anyway.
$5 from Corey Springer for the Nat 20. Hashtag Team Katy. Yay, someone did it. Thanks a lot, Corey.
They did that back when you rolled, just so y'all know how far behind we are.
Oh, wow. $5 from Eddie Dean. My best friend's oldest son is trans. His school and kids at school haven't accepted him and treat him horribly. Any advice that I can pass along? Oof, that's a hard one. I mean,
call in.
If the school board, I was going to say, just a quick answer, you should definitely call in. If the school board and the students aren't accepting him, I think it might be up to the parents to consider moving schools if that's an option. But I think if that isn't an option, the best thing you can do is get him therapy and be there for him as a parent, and make sure that he knows that despite how his community treats him, he's a good person, deserving of love and support and all of the other things that the other kids get.
But yeah, please do call in. $5 from RPGD Blunks. Team Katy, Team Arden, where's the both option? The fence sitter cowards option, you mean? Ha. Well, I'm choosing Team Both. Storms off. Coward.
Choosing Team No Points is what you're choosing. Thanks, RPG. RPG. I think I said RB. Blah. Enunciate your words, Arden. Or as Jimmy would say, button.
Thank you.
Button.
Didn't.
I feel like I'm in like my performing arts classes in high school.
$4.99 from Ramona. A loser has to dress in their Hogwarts house colours next time. If they don't know it, they have to take an online quiz. Hashtag
that would
Team
be kind
Katy.
of funny.
Yeah, I don't know what my Hogwarts thing
I'm
is.
a Hufflepuff.
I guess because I'm a mortal enemy of J.K. Rowling, that probably puts me in Slytherin.
You're right. You're the big bad. No, I'm Hufflepuff. I always have been.
Some of her more recent works have been to redeem Slytherins, so which isn't super surprising, but yeah.
Yeah, was.
You mean she wants to redeem the exterminationist group in her own book?
Yeah, the pure blood lovers, the bigoted, the bigots.
The real men and women.
There's not a witch or wizard who went bad who weren't in Slytherin.
$10 from Aubrey. Just accidentally got subjected to some pretty vile transvestigation online. So, oh God, I'm so sorry. So glad to have some sensible badasses to bring me back to sanity. Hashtag Team 80. Hashtag don't care about your feelings. No, just kidding. No, that's terrible. It's the level that people will go to for transvestigation. It's just pure stupid pseudoscience. And I'm sorry that you got picked apart that way.
It is horrible. And for sure. But I just like to say that I think I almost appreciate transvestigation in the same way that, you know, some people really like bad films or like bad computer games or whatever, and that's like their thing. I genuinely, unironically love transvestigation because it's just so hilarious. Like when you stumble across these people and they post in like a picture of The Rock and his wife or whatever, and they're like obvious gender inverts, and it's like, they're like showing how The Rock's hips are like slightly wider than they think they should be, so therefore he's obviously a trans man and stuff. It just makes me feel like, you know, if they're picking out these absolutely beautiful cis women and saying they're obviously men, then, you know, it takes the pressure off me a bit. And it's just, I just feel like it's an art. It's like, how ridiculous can they go? They'll pick someone like I once discovered a YouTube video about how Alex Jones was obviously a trans man. And it was like an hour long of them zooming into like photos of his groin and stuff and being like, there's no sign of a penis here. I was like, I love that this is people's lives. This person probably spent like a whole fucking day doing this video. It's Alex Jones. It's just so perfect.
They're like the young creationists of TERFs.
Yeah, they are amazing.
Someone in the chat said, is transvestigation just doxing? No, transvestigation is when people deeply scrutinize and pull apart the bodies of people in images to suggest that they are secretly trans. This happens. It's like mostly directed at celebrities.
One of their mottos is, it's absolutely all of them, no exceptions. So lots of them believe that like every single celebrity is a trans person, from like Donald Trump and Ivanka Trump or whatever to like Alex Jones, like just everyone. And it is incredible. And it's horrible when they target you, but you've got to remember that they think Donald Trump is a trans man.
And J.K. Rowling is a trans woman.
I found a J.K. Rowling one the other day, actually. I tweeted it out. They said J.K. Rowling, Rosie Duffield, and Gussie Grips, the lady who flashed in Scottish Parliament, were all trans women. And I was like, like sincerely held belief that these are three, because they believe that all media is staged. They're like, you know, super QAnon level conspiracy theorists. And so they think that J.K. Rowling's opposition to trans rights is to legitimize her as a trans woman. Like, oh, you know, the only reason she's pretending this is so she can sneak under the radar in order to something lizard people. I don't know, but yeah, it's a fun.
This one's for you, Katy. Read this one.
Oh,
you should read this one out loud.
£5 from Dizzy Spook. Hashtag Team Transvestigation. Secretly a trans woman.
Team Arden. £5 from Jackie Greenland. It's a personality type test. No negative consequences for me, but could be used for others if it's used as hiring criteria. Hashtag Team Katy again, just goes cozy. Wait, what's a personality type test? Wait,
the one she was talking about earlier.
Right, the predictive test. I see.
You know how a lot of people who are like quote unquote activists in some way will hate their opposition so much they'll actually sort of become their opposition too? Like supposed people who are trying to fight against purity culture, then they'll start actually advocating for basically just purity culture in a different way. Wouldn't it be kind of funny if transvestigators started also claiming that all trans women are secretly cis?
Well, I have seen a reverse transvestigation thread about Keffels saying that she's a cis woman and that she's just doing it for attention. That was quite a good one.
Fucking love it.
They're quite satisfying. And then someone like reply with a picture of J.K. Rowling and they're like, obviously a man. Look at that jawline. Like, I love it.
Oh, I can't wait to get my own transvestigation. I want one now.
Oh, I'm going to bait one of them into it. That would be amazing. They will. They'll be zooming in on pictures of your groin from like some photo you uploaded from 15 years ago, and they'll be like, "Where's the penis?"
I've been asking myself that my whole life.
Oh my god!
$5 from good old Max Peck. Make the loser chug a bottle of pure brand unsweetened cranberry juice on camera.
A whole bottle?
I could probably do that.
How many ounces? I don't dislike cranberry juice that much, but how many ounces are we talking? Because like
liter, I presume.
Tough. Unsweetened isn't
I can chug a pint of anything, no probs.
Isn't unsweetened like sugar removed too? Unsweetened, not just like
de-sweetened.
Right. It's been.
I don't know. I don't know. I've had unsweet cranberry juice. I don't think it's. I mean, it's really bitter and strong, but it's not bad in my opinion. But sure, I guess we could do that. Maybe for another one, put that in like the books for next time we're struggling to figure out one.
My assistant producer should put that in the books.
You're right. She should.
She's pretty lazy though.
$5 Canadian from Magma. I love you guys. You helped me come out to my sister's trans. Also, although I would have picked Arden, I need to pick hashtag Team Katy for the D20. Why do you have to add that you would have?
Thanks, Magma.
I don't want to know that. That's
that does hurt.
If you were better at rolling dice.
No.
Well, €50. Thank you very much. Donuts. Oh boy, I'm still on time. You're on time because this show is never going to end. What are your thoughts on the new Harry Potter inspired game? My friend who's also a trans woman bought it and I feel weird about it. Love you, Fergles. Donuts, you should go and watch the start of the show.
Yeah.
It's the whole beginning.
We done a rant on it. There's a poll
and we had a call on it, the first caller. So yeah, there's a huge chunk of us talking about it.
First quarter of the show, yeah. Or by the time this uploads, first 1% of the show.
£5 from Pancaking On. Hello, mate. Hashtag Team Stinky, because patriotic pride. F30P Lee Anderson. Wait, what? F30P Lee Anderson?
Oh, so someone who's just been made chair of the Conservative Party is some like they're scraping the barrel for like conservatives who are on board with the current regime, and he's an absolute clown. I can't remember what the 30p thing stands for, but he's like pro death penalty. He's just an idiot, like deeply unintelligent man who comes across that way in every single interview he does.
I like that it's extreme conservative to be pro death penalty in the UK. I'm like, where's the extreme? That's the default conservative position here.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's probably even then a lot lighter than the average Republican, but he's, as far as British conservatives go, what it makes him stupid is British conservatives seek to eradicate people politely without anyone really noticing, whereas he kind of says it out loud, so he's a bit more like a Republican in that way. So,
all right, so Lee Anderson versus George Santos. You have to spend the weekend with one of them. Who is it?
I mean, George Santos, right?
George Santos, definitely.
That
sounds like a blast.
Entertaining.
We're gonna watch Drag Race together, and then I'm gonna get to listen to all the ridiculous stories he comes up with. It'll be hilarious.
He's gonna sit there and just be like, "Oh, by the way, I actually am RuPaul. Did you know that?"
Yeah. My makeup artist is really good.
Twist. To be honest, RuPaul probably is a Republican. So, $5 from Saradai. Hashtag Team Mario Kart.
I don't know who that goes to.
Yeah, me neither. Well, Arden. Clearly Arden. If Katy gets no mayo after all the shit you said about Mario.
That's true. That's actually so accurate. Thanks, Sarah, for the vote for me.
I don't need this point. I don't need it. So
stop only playing Rainbow Road on 200cc and you'll have a good time.
Another
$5 from
you got it, Drew.
$5 from Eddie Dean. Hashtag Team Arden. Disgusting. Consider playing 60 seconds. It's hard, boring, and infuriating. Wow, that sounds amazing. But I love it. At least watch some gameplay. I've never heard of it, but okay. It sounds quite quick. Maybe I'll sign up for that.
I think they might be saying consider playing QWOP for 60 seconds. Because this was back when we were
there is a
about
game
QWOP.
called 60 Seconds on Steam.
Then I'm wrong.
Dark comedy, atomic adventure of scavenge and survival. Collect supplies and rescue your family before the new kids. Sounds like a nightmare that I have like once a month. $9.99 from another Arden. Spending more money. Non-hypothetical question. What would you do if your kid's teacher at a progressive school that supports trans kids in other ways was reading Harry Potter to their class? Okay, I know it's like kind of been a thing. I've seen people being like, the books actually suck, and here's all the things wrong with them. And that's fair. It's good and healthy to do analyses of the books, but I liked the books. I still, remembering them, I'm like, yeah, I liked them for these reasons, and they're still good. I feel like if they're reading to kids, as long as like as they get older, like parents are willing to have discussions with them about like the context and how like, hey, sometimes the authors of really great works can have really terrible opinions on other things. Like, I don't know. I don't really see an issue with reading Harry Potter.
I would do nothing. I wouldn't even react to it. But if it turned out that there's some gender critical J.K. Rowling cultist, then we'd probably have more issues than just this. So.
Yeah, right. If they're like trying to inject a narrative to it either way, I would be like a little uncomfortable with that. But if they're just reading it in class, like whatever, I don't
care for, and I know that one of them is here, so I'm going to word it nicely. I don't care for the people who are going out there acting like anybody who ever liked Harry Potter is sort of dull-minded and shit. Like, it was the thing that made a lot of us start to like reading when we were younger. Too.
Yeah, I'm not dissing anyone who liked Harry Potter as a kid.
You're so mean about it. You're just the meanest person.
For me, I mean, it's like
Pokemon more.
It's such like a good like escapist fantasy. All the 10-year-olds who hated themselves being like, I can go to this world where I can fly and have a companion, and I'm actually not just a loser. I'm special.
Yeah.
Like, totally. But I feel like all of these escapist things are like they're gonna nail with kids anyway. Thanks.
I think it would be way more useful to like say, we understand that an open world version of the fantasy you had growing up that you're going to get to now live out. We understand why that's so appealing. We'd still love it if you just let that go. I think that'd be more useful than all the fucking shit that's happening on Twitter right now.
Probably.
Yeah.
No, let's double down. €5 from Yasmin Meadowflower. This is my last super. I can't do everything. I'm poor. I changed my supers to channel membership. Hashtag Team May always. Well, I was going to say thanks for your support this whole time, Yasmin, but you've betrayed me at the end there. But no, no one should feel obliged to donate money to anyone on YouTube or anyone if they can't afford it. Please look after yourself first.
Yeah, and if
this is just for people who have the expendable income to help out with the show.
If you have a few dollars that you want to spend on the show, I think it would probably be, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it would probably be a better idea to subscribe to our Patreon.
It depends on what you're trying to get out of it. If the thing that you get the most value out of is hearing your chat read out, do a super chat. If the thing that gives you the most value is skipping the slow mode in chat, do a membership. And if the thing you get the most value out of is supporting the channel and like you directly want to help the channel as much as possible, do Patreon. It starts at $5 a month and they only take like 8% as opposed to YouTube's 30 to 35%. So
can we get a no mayonnaise icon chat for the people with members. Chat
Sure.
Oh my god.
You make it and I'll put it on.
I've made one. Okay, I'm ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god. Thanks, Yasmin. $5 from Jamie J. First time catching the Any Line show live. Oh, awesome. My first chance to super chat. My wife is trans, so I appreciate you guys being loud and proud. Hashtag Team Quap plus Arden. Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
So we've reached the threshold of 25. So the loser is going to have to play Matt. The question is, will we hit the threshold of 50? We are not currently trending to do so, but chat can turn it around.
Okay, Team Arden, we need votes. Let's go. They don't have to be expensive one. $5, a bunch of them, little ones. Let's go.
$4.99 from Claire. I think JKR wanted us to see the wizards were wrong for their treatment of goblins. She's on the goblin side and shows bigots / Death Eaters are bad. Yeah, possibly. Oh, I don't know. Okay, to be honest. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that level of defending her books, I guess. I don't know. We kind of beaten this topic to death, so I'll probably just pass. But
I also don't think she wrote the story. There's like lots about the story that's admirable. It's not her story. That's why. Like,
right.
Of the
this
game, I mean.
Conspiracy
game,
Jimmy coming in with a take. Oh, I see.
No, the game.
Okay.
No, she didn't write the game. Yeah.
Do you know who really wrote the Harry Potter books? It was the man version of J.K. Rowling before she transitioned into the trans woman she is today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, conversion therapist extraordinaire, Robert Galbraith.
Right. Thanks, Claire. Wait, is this me or you?
Yeah, you can do it. Why not?
10 euros from Donuts. Thank you, Donuts. Don't listen to Jimmy. There's only one way to play Skyrim, and it's Stealth Archer. LOL, JK.
Donuts, I agree.
think
That's
Arden
the main way I play. So
I think Arden should be on 11. She got the quaff point from the last one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Katie.
That's right. See, I'm honest. I'm an honest person. 25 Polish zloty from Dory Kadlabowski. I hope that Poland will be cool one day. I would love to meet you guys someday. Hashtag Team Arden this time. Thanks, Dory. Yeah, I do really. I would love to go there. I think it's probably got some beautiful places. Hopefully, this disgusting anti-feminist regime will fall down eventually and be replaced by someone who doesn't want to wipe out human rights.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Another 10 euros from Donuts. On Arrow to the Knee, the devs literally just wrote it in as a fun idle line, so some fan-made claim that it was referring to marriage, but no. That makes sense. It's one of those things that just kind of got extrapolated by the audience over time.
Nah, I'm right. I'm doubling down. Everyone who
someone needs to shoot Jimmy in the knee with an arrow.
I'm thinking about. I'm kind of, for the last. It's been weird for the last year and a half or so. It's become more and more appealing, and
to get married.
I'm starting to get to the. Yeah, I think I'm starting to get to the. I kind of want to. I'm approaching where I might want to start a whole ass family. I'm just trying not to rush
an ass family.
A whole ass family. That's right.
A whole ass family with an ass dad and an ass mom.
My legal last name is going to be Ass. So yes.
The ass name.
My god.
Jimmy Ass. I'm on board with this. I'll marry you and be Katy Ass.
I'm going to keep sending you chats. I'll be able to keep sending you chats. I need to step away for a second, so the scoreboard won't update until I get back. Just so you know, but chats will keep updating.
Next. 6969 from Robin Taustig, Swedish Krona. Nice. I actually ate an egg sandwich last weekend. It was my first time I got disgusted by mayo. Yes, I'm winning this over. I really thought I liked it. I guess I didn't. Hashtag Team Katy. Yes, Robin, welcome to the light side. Welcome to the future. Welcome to No Slime.
Look, there's really easy solutions. You do too much mayo, it's gross. You don't have like garlic or something else mixed in there, it's gross. But if you have garlic or something else added in there, oh, it's great.
Do you know a good egg sandwich goes bread, egg, bread, or
I mean,
bread,
I like some mustard
cheese
on
crisps.
Ooh, interesting.
Paprika crisps, they will go too. I'll eat those.
Thanks, Robin.
Anyway, thanks, Robin. Next.
I
kind of want to go to bed, so
$10 from Dark Matter. Hashtag Team Arden. Thank you. Thanks, Dark Matter. Everyone's showing up now.
$5 euros even from Donuts. Hashtag Team Ketchup and Team Katy. Yes, thanks, Donuts.
Donuts. Oh, I feel betrayed.
It's one for me. I need to remember this when Jimmy gets back.
5 pounds from Malika Kuntz. Forgot hashtag Team Arden loves next. Oh, I'm so glad. We've got so many to share. I've been pooped on camera twice now, so it's a good fun time.
Both times by snakes, fortunately.
Okay, well, I guess that brings it up to like 5 times. No, just
10 Canadian dollars from Oi Boy. So that's a good name. Sorry. Oi Boy. Sorry for my earlier stupidity, especially to Arden.
I'm not sure if I know what you're referring to. But thanks, I guess.
Thanks, Oi Boy.
Oi Boy. Next.
Oi Boy. Next, please.
Oh, I'm guessing we got a vamp at this point. I mean, I think I can see the next one. So if we want to get a little head start on it, we've got $9.99.
1 second. I was working my way back, but on the Oi Boy thing, Oi Boy had asked a question in chat, and the way it was worded got them like deleted or timed out for a sec. And so Oi Boy was just saying it was actually like a fine question. It was just that it became specific to, rather than like an existential question about the issue, putting a specific person's name in, which had made it like kind of a little bit creepy. And so we were just like, hey, don't do that. And they took we weren't mad is basically the main thing I wanted to say is we weren't mad. Thank you for paying to apologize, but you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me get the score fixed.
I think I got 2 in that time.
Yeah, I think
I got 1.
There was the one from Donuts, because I think we had done the one from Dark Matter right before I left. So Donuts, Katy, Arden.
Wasn't there one before that?
2 and 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Right.
There we go.
The next will be Truth Seeker, right?
Yeah.
I have to pee so bad.
You can go.
$9.99 from Truth Seeker. No. We'll just finish out the show. Do you think that a high-level Olympic or NBA sport should have to have a separate league for trans people? Should everyone be one league, or should people be allowed to pick which gender league they want? I don't think people should just be allowed to pick. I think there clearly needs. Yeah, none of those 3. This is really a call-in topic. I think it's far too complex for us to do over Super Chat, but I appreciate the support. Definitely call in.
Next, £10 from Helen Lawson. Would Katy back conversion therapy if it was to rid the world of Mayo lovers? Absolutely. What? Like, if gender criticals are allowed to have absolutely no consistency at all in any of their worldview, then I should be allowed it too. So I'm anti-conversion therapy, apart from brainwashing people who incorrectly believe that they like slime. Make them learn to love dry food. Yes, like humans were designed to. Hashtag Team Arden. Love mayo.
See, no.
I'll put you through conversion therapy.
Katy
Heather
will put you through torture if you like mayo. You heard it here first, folks.
I'm just curing you. I'm making you a better person.
I've just had an idea, Arden, that I'm telling you because you are now assistant producer. Remind me sometime this week, I should set up one of my like cheap little computers that y'all could remote into. You remember last night when we set up the thing for Matt and it was like way better? We could do that if we just had everybody remote in through Parsec, and then they could do it too. We could set that up. Yeah. It was tremendous.
It was. $5 from MA. Just being a woman is not mental illness. Enough said. Hashtag Team Arden. Wrong. Womanhood is mental illness. No. Thanks so much.
We're trending to get close, but not break 50. So y'all need to get your scores in or your chats in soon if you want to.
How many more are there?
1, 2, 3,
We're
4,
on like
5,
hour
6,
5.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but not all of them have votes on them.
Okay, then I'm going to take a bathroom break. I thought we were like 4 away. So
yeah,
okay,
go ahead. Well,
next.
Yeah.
£5 from Mismatched. My favourite hosts are back at it again. As usual, got to support my girl. Hashtag team. She's not even here, so the vote doesn't count. Hashtag team Katy. Thank you very much, Nick. She doesn't know. Quick, on to the next one.
Okay, on to the next one.
$5 from Aldranari MB. I am a trans woman with OSDD. It feels awkward to describe. I don't know what that is, I'm afraid. Hashtag Team Arden. Hognose snacks are so adorable. Where's this fucking Arden support come from? Why does Arden always get late game support? Come on, guys. It's not fair.
OSDD stands for Other Specified Dissociative Disorder. It's sort of like on the same spectrum as DID, but wouldn't have some of the same severer symptoms as DID. And there's other things that are different. Let me give Arden the point there. Here we go.
$13.99 Canadian dollars from Adrian. I'm 46 and recently came out as trans, but I'm very worried how such a dramatic change can affect my 6-year-old daughter. She known me as her dad her whole life. To just change like that, any advice? Yeah, this would be a great topic to call in. I guess my top advice would be talk to other trans parents who have gone through the same things, because loads of people have, and lots of them have happy families. Generally, kids just are quick learners and they don't really care because they haven't been taught all the transphobic bullshit, and they're just like, oh, my dad's my other mum now, that's cool. And then they just kind of get on with it. So you can definitely make it work. Talk to some other people.
Have we had transparent guests?
No, we haven't. Well,
I don't think so.
That'd be good.
Well, we've had trans people who are... No, yeah, actually we have. Aron, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because Gollum crawled in the background.
That's right. That'd be a good show to maybe even try and make that the topic of one day.
Yeah.
$5 from James Call. I just got back from the vet to rule out physical reasons for my cats. Oh, wow. I just thought I took the lead. Holy shit. Physical reasons for my cat's behaviors. I missed a lot, but I want a crab sandwich with mayo. Hashtag Team Arden. I mean, seafood's disgusting, but sure, add mayo to it. As long as I get the point, I'm good with it.
I think it's more moral to eat humans than crabs. Next.
I believe, for people who are keeping track, I believe we need about 8 more chats with votes to break 50. So loser's going to play Matt in chess, but if we break 50, these two are going to stream playing QWOP against each other, and it's going to be miserable for everyone.
Let me go to bed.
You don't want to QWOP?
I don't even care at this point. I just want to go to bed. $4.99 from Wildcard 120. I hope both of you are well. The right seems to be intensifying their attacks. Yes, they do, and they're going to keep doing it for a little bit. I'm hoping that their last losses in America and Australia, where they focused on trans rights, will mean that they pull off a bit. We'll see in the next coming years. I think when the UK Conservative Party really tanks, if they make trans rights an issue, then they'll change their angle a bit. That's my hope. We'll see.
Agreed. $5 from Alexander Powers. How about the transvestigators that think celebrities made pacts with the devil and a gender transformation was part of the deal? Great stuff. Dude, I wish I got that deal.
Whenever you see them doing this is a Baphomet who is a trans person. So
come on, Baphomet, give me some magical surgery.
$15 from Gabagool. I am big cis guy at my local bar that shields LGBTQ people from the stoops. I guess you mean stupid people. My name is Gary too. Funny Katy said that last week. Hashtag you vote.
I'll let a both vote on $15. If anybody else wants to both vote, at least $15 though, and we'll give both people a point.
$5 from Mike V. Hashtag Team Arden. Team Arden coming through at the end. See, this was like a relay race. We went slow at the beginning because we had a lot of energy stored up for the big run at the end.
$5 from Erin. Just got off work to catch the last bit live, enjoying my sandwich with mayo. All the fucking slimy people turning up at the end.
This is the real reason you're pretending you want to go to bed.
in.
Yeah, for real. Katie's just afraid of losing is what's going on. 5 pounds from Grimbeer. J.K. Rowling is just Robert Galbraith in drag. # Team Metal.
Team Metal's got to be me. Come on.
That's definitely you.
Yay.
Not worried about it. I don't need the votes now. I'm definitely going to win.
50 Swedish krona. Sorry. From
Puck
Puck.
Tholander. # Team Arden. I don't know who it was, but no, me now. Thanks, Puck. Appreciate it.
$5 from Tony L. Mayo is fine. It makes Jimmy John's heatable. Does this mean something different to what I've read it as?
Jimmy John's is a fast food place, I think,
or
like a chain restaurant or something.
It's basically like Subway but fast.
Yeah,
I read John's as in the people who like the word for men who buy sex. Anyway,
yes.
Next.
Yes, Mayo. Amazing. Thank you so much, Tony.
Oh, sorry. I thought I said the next one.
10 euros from Donuts. We heard from Arden herself. Mayo needs an additive before it's any good. Therefore, mayo is bad either way. That does not make sense. If it needs an additive...
It's not true of cheese, is it?
First of all...
When you're eating cheese, do you need anything else? No, you don't.
First of all,
when you're eating crisps,
Katie, if I could mute
don't.
you...
When you're eating pizza...
First of all, I didn't say mayo needs any additives to be good. I said it
Obviously
too much
does.
can be bad, but adding something to it does improve the quality. Katie, I swear to God, this is why you're losing, okay? You can't have a civil debate.
If you're just going to lie, why do I need to deal with your gish gallop?
Like, we need at least 3 more votes to break 50, just so everyone knows. 3 more chats with votes beyond what we have left.
69.6 decipennies from Malika Kunst. I think my previous chat didn't read... Oh, have you heard of genital dysphoria without gender dysphoria? How to treat under the current gatekept system. Yeah, that's an interesting topic. I think you would need to call in for that one to have a discussion to know quite what you mean. There's it's interesting. I have met someone who's been in this situation online anyway. So yeah, call in.
£5.55 from Malika Kuntz. # Team Arden again. Thank you so much.
Disgraceful. $4.99 from Steph Lyons. My daughter was super supportive of me coming out, and she loves that we get to match outfits a lot more now. # Team Arden. Yeah, this is great. This is why it's oh, sorry if I said your name wrong at the start there, 7. This is why it's good to talk to other trans people, because you will hear inspiring stories.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's so easy for kids to adjust to that kind of thing.
Sorry, I'm encouraging chat to get these 3 more votes in.
Canadian 15 from Nilly Wilson. Thanks, Jimmy. I don't have to decide. # alleged both vote.
Oh, it's a both voter.
That's right.
I mean, I'm almost like 10 ahead of you now, so...
Seriously, get your votes in right now, because I only have 1 more to send them. It has a vote on it. That will put us to 47 combined, which means we need 3 more super chats with votes on them. Otherwise, we're not going to get to see the miserable Quap duo.
5 Canadian from number 1. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You all have taught me so much about how to be human. Thanks. Well, Team Arden, I reckon you've just been sending them, like in the background there. He's just making fake profiles and sending in a load of Team Ardens.
He actually had, well, he had a Team Katy queued up, actually. You think you're talking shit. He showed it to me. He was about to send it.
But he hasn't sent it.
No, he hasn't. You're right.
I apparently missed this one earlier in the show.
I thought it would be unfair to pick my opponent.
$5 from Sarah Dye. # Team Arden. Thank you.
I think I actually need to add 2 to Arden. Yes.
What's this? Just
because
randomly
I missed the last one. I'm curating at the moment. It's difficult. It takes things.
Bring in the
Finally, Rose, breath, fresh air, some sanity. The adults are back in the room. What are the conservative phrases people say? From Rose Northcott. # Team Katy. Thank you very much.
$5 from Killian Stig. Longtime watcher, first time super chatter. Salby, Umpua. Everyone go listen to Chase Icon. # Team Arden. I don't know what Chase Icon is, but cool.
Currently seeing if I missed any others, but there are some others to come in here. Just giving them a moment.
Killian is a cool name.
This person seems to think I missed theirs, but I feel like I remember us reading it.
Yeah, we read that one.
Okay.
Sorry, wildcard. But fuck you.
Well, they might have also said that I missed theirs before
we did it.
Before we then found it earlier, yeah.
$5 from Mike B. # Team Arden.
We've had a load of Mike B. What are you playing at? Sure, it's his third one. I reckon Jimmy's just bringing it back up every now and then. I've forgotten.
No.
Let's go.
£5 from Helen Lawson. Helen, is now the smallest amount I could spend. # Team Katy. Thank you very much, Helen. Glad to see you've recanted on your slimy ways.
Cow's our friend. €5 from Cow's our friend. # Team Arden, but maybe repent from the mayo anyway. Look, just because Katie's a propagandist and likes to suggest that I'm obsessed with mayo, I just think mayo is acceptable, and I don't discriminate against you for your choice of sauce. That's
just before
really
we went live, here. I was like, Arden, quick, look in the mirror. You've got mayonnaise on your face.
Oh my god.
That wasn't mayonnaise.
Oh my god. Disgusting.
Okay.
$5 James Call. Add relish to the mayo and put it in a sandwich. Repeat. Oh god, triple slime.
We did that.
No,
we did it. Yeah.
Oh, it makes me feel sick. Hey Matt.
It actually was surprisingly not as bad as you'd think it would be. I was actually like, oh wow, that was. I mean, it was not good, but like I wouldn't get it for myself, but it wasn't horrible.
That's the last one. So we have to arrange Katy to do on stream, play 3 matches with Matt in chess, and then the 2 of you need to do a combo stream of playing Quap together at some point.
Okay, will do. Thank you guys so much. As always, we already did all the thanks, but as always, we appreciate our call screeners and our mods and all of you viewers for showing up and making the show possible. And of course, thanks to Jimmy for producing the show. We really do appreciate getting to come here and talk about these important issues with you guys. And it means a lot that you show up to listen. So thank you so much. And we will be back next week with another show. Okay, bye.